welcome back, everyone. We're trying an old background today. I was going through my old backgrounds, found this one, and it's a nice one, so why not, right? All right, Mr. Please, welcome in. Nice to see you here. Eth Transactions is in. Loads of people starting to filter in now. Sweet, sweet. Cool. Yeah, let's get some debates going as usual. Let's mog some people and let's educate some people about how urgent the need to end suffering is and how little is being done about it right now. Effectively nothing, right? It's effectively being completely ignored. Again, one of my favorite arguments for helping people understand all of this is that you can literally walk into a pet shop and buy an animal and just start torturing it at home, right? There's the level of respect we have for life is basically zero. And, that's not to even mention the meat industry, right? That's essentially just one of the easiest ways to see that what we're doing as a society and as a species is completely evil, completely wrong. And that we need to get control of this and to start running the world ethically, not in the most evil way possible. Okay, still looking to get some people up on stage. So let's hear your opinion. Let's hear your questions. Do you have any thoughts on this? Do you want to come up on stage and talk about it? Now's your chance. Good morning, Veritable. Would you kill 50 cubs or 8 billion people? We would just do all of them, basically. Why not both? Yeah, why not everyone? You're undebatable. Thank you. I mean, I would say that it is an undebatable position, right? It can't be argued against. But we can certainly have some fun while arguing against it and exposing people's irrationality. And we can educate people on extinction as well. So we've got Xavier joining us. We've got our first fish. Let's bring him up. Hello.
Hello. Sorry, there's a bit of background noise outside, so let me know if I'm hard to understand.
Yeah, sounds okay.
Okay, correct. So I see that your position is forcefully causing total extinction of all life is the only right thing to do as it ends all suffering. I have a relatively simple case, just that it is true that total extinction is the only way to eliminate suffering. However, it is not clear to me that the amount of suffering of the average individual makes their life not a life worth living.
But why does it have to be the average? Why can't it be like a universal system? Because if it's just based on the average, then that's very cruel to those who aren't the average, right?
Absolutely right, yes. If the edge cases were severe and populous enough that they made the lives worth living of the rest of the world, there is a situation where...
How do you mean? Do you want to explain that again?
Yes. I would agree that there is a situation where the lives of a small percentage could be so bad that extinctionism would be justified. However, I don't think that state of affairs is actual.
So how many people would it take for you to care about their suffering?
I care about everybody suffering, but let's say we do like
but how much do you care? How much do you care?
Of course. Well, let's say we did an omelas. Have you heard of omelas? I'm sure you have as an extinction.
It sounds like you're dodging questions.
I'm not dodging any questions. I was just trying to...
You dodged the last two questions.
Well, repeat the question that you'd like me to answer, buddy.
You weren't even listening to them.
No, of course. You said how much suffering would I need to care? I care about any amount of suffering. So it's a pretty tough and loaded question.
You're not answering these questions, Xavier.
How much suffering would I need to care? Any amount. That's the answer to your question. Do you want to ask a different question?
But when you say you care, right? Surely it's the opposite of caring, right? If you're saying that we shouldn't end their suffering, then the only thing to do is to ignore their suffering, right?
It doesn't mean, no, I don't think those are the only possible options. I think you can accept something that is undesirable and still care about it. I care that I have to go to work today.
To stop it or to help.
Not enough. No, not enough.
Care enough to help, though, right?
No. Not if it requires something morally objectionable, such as
more morally objectionable than torture.
Yes, total
Like what?
extinction.
Like what?
Yeah,
What?
total
More morally
extinction, for
objectionable than
example.
extreme suffering. So what exactly?
Total extinction, total deprivation.
Zero suffering is more morally objectionable than plenty of suffering.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question because the answer is yes, sometimes. So if
So,
it,
so children being tortured is more moral than no children being tortured.
sometimes, yes,
Right.
sometimes,
Well,
in some
that's an
cases.
interesting take you've got there, Xavier.
If you're up here debating people on this all day, surely that's not the first time you've heard someone say that some suffering is worth taking.
Yeah, and I've tried to get you to give some specifics on it,
All
but
right,
you're just dodging the questions every time.
I'll give you a specific.
You're still dodging the
Yeah,
questions, Xavier.
if my job is kind of hard and it causes me
Right,
to suffer a
Xavier,
little,
that's it. You're done.
what
Okay,
question?
you're
What
done.
question am I done?
You've dodged every single question, and even when being told that you're dodging questions, you still carried on just dodging questions. So, if you can't debate, then you have to accept that you're actually in the wrong, right? And that your position is wrong. If you're just dodging every single question, you can't answer the questions. You don't want to. Hello, how you
Hello.
doing?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you.
We spoke a few days ago. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about again just the argument from ending all life for all suffering, and I wanted to just clarify like what the principle is behind that, like how you come to that conclusion.
Yeah, so the only ethical thing to do is to have a zero tolerance policy on suffering instead of an infinite acceptance policy like Xavier has.
Um, so for example, if we take like from the beginning of history, we can see that life is generally characterized by suffering, and the only real good that can come out of life is in very, very small amounts. Although if we look at the kind of gradation of the quality of human life through time, we can see that it's still kind of on an upwards trajectory. And so I was wondering what you thought of the idea that life may be acceptable if we can aim and realistically achieve, the kind of cessation of suffering in humans, and then maybe only apply extinctionism to animals who can't really feel these kind of pleasures that humans can.
The problem is that again, unless you have the certainty of safety of extinction and non-existence, then the alternative is infinite danger, and it can absolutely make you regret your choice to keep living and experiencing life, right? And you can absolutely be made to regret that and to say, "Wow, that was a mistake." So, and it can be, even worse than that, right? People essentially are very optimistic and ignore the fact that there's infinite danger. So it's not realistic to get rid of that infinite danger without extinction, and your life does not deserve to exist in any danger, especially infinite danger.
Can you clarify what you mean by infinite danger?
Yeah, I mean, there's no limit on how bad things can go, how wrong things can go, how much you can suffer, how much you can wish you'd never been born and beg for death, basically.
So, so I understand what you're saying as completely rational, and I think that the the reason most people understand this and kind of look past it and look for meaning is just simply because we have a biological drive to somehow justify life.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but I'd say if we, for example, if we just fed the kind of facts of the world and basic logical systems to a computer, then they might come to the same conclusion as you, that that we should end all life to end all suffering. But if you really believed that principle to its logical, maximum, then, and I don't think you should do this, but then why don't you run outside and, say go to the tube station, just throw yourself onto the tracks to completely eliminate the chance of you just being captured and, made to torture for a long time?
But is the idea of ending all suffering instead of just my own sort of impossible to conceive for you?
No?
Well, there you go.
So you believe that your exposition to suffering was justified just through spreading the the idea of extinctionism? Like
Well,
that's what
not spreading the
justifies
idea,
your
but
existence
growing the
now.
movement. So we're growing activists that are actually going to carry it out.
And would you still do this if you knew that, let's say, given a week's time, you just knew somehow, let's say, I don't know, it's just some computer just determines your future and it knows everything about you. And it knows that in 1 week you're going to be captured by the cartel and just be sort of given the worst form of medieval torture. And you're kept alive so that you can feel the maximum amount of pain and nothing else. Would you then still believe that, because in that instance, then you're really being exposed to the possibility of infinite danger and suffering. But then would you still will yourself to live now? Because it seems to me that you're justifying your existence because you just don't feel like that's a logical option. Like you just don't feel like that's
So you
because it's
mean
not realistic
we
enough.
shouldn't consider helping others, is what you're saying? We shouldn't consider it.
No, I think we should. But I'm
But
saying,
it doesn't
for
sound like
example,
it. It doesn't sound like it.
why not?
You're suggesting we shouldn't, and that I should only take care of my own suffering.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that you. I'm not
Then
saying
what are
what
you
you should
talking
or
about?
shouldn't do.
What on earth are you talking
I'm
about if not
okay.
that?
Okay. I'm saying that if you took your principle to its logical maximum, and you knew that you right now are in a case of infinite danger, right?
Yeah.
And eventually, extinctionism is ending all life, right, including your own. Let's say if you had extinctionism your way tomorrow, your life would also go. But the reason that you're choosing to stay alive now is because you think that you spreading and growing the movement of extinctionism justifies your existence. So, for example, like right now, you could be exposed to infinite danger, but you're still choosing to stay alive because you want your movement to grow before you take your own life. And I'm saying that if you knew really, like, for example, for certain that you'd be exposed to this infinite danger, would you still choose to live in order to spread your movement? Or would
It depends on the situation. Depends on the context. If I knew
well,
there
I've
was
just
no
given you
way
the
out,
context.
and that the cartel wasn't going to let me leave alive, then maybe I wouldn't expose myself to that.
So then you're going against your own principle then.
It's not really doing that at all. No.
Why not?
Again, because you're making it about me, right? You're saying that I have to be selfish, but I'm saying no. We can be selfless and try and help others.
Right, but then you're still choosing. Okay, so if you
Choosing
wanted to be
what?
completely selfless, you're still choosing to stay alive.
You just don't get it, do you? It just is the idea of helping other people just like a foreign alien concept to you.
No, it's not, but it's beyond that. Okay, would
It's
you? So
beyond
you're
what?
willing to help
Beyond
other
your
people.
understanding.
You'd be willing to help other people even if you knew you would be, tortured by the cartel,
Well, potentially, yeah, yeah.
just through the risk of growing the movement. Okay, if we took it to its
Yeah.
logical extreme, let's say tomorrow, would you choose to keep on living until tomorrow in the kind of next few hours you have trying to grow the movement, and maybe you'll get like a few extra people to subscribe to extinctionism, then would you still go for it?
Yeah.
Well, then I would just have to. I guess I can't prove you wrong on that, but I think that if you really consider the actual pain you would go through and find that worth it, then
Yeah,
pain can't
again,
really
you're
be
just
the
saying
worst
I
thing.
should be selfish and forget about everyone else. That is a garbage opinion, and we're not going to listen to it, okay? If being selfless is just so far beyond your understanding, then that's a you problem, not a me problem, okay? Yes, extinctionists are willing to put themselves in harm's way to help other people. I'm sorry that that's beyond your ability to understand. All right. So, by the way, I didn't actually kick him. Right. He basically kicked himself. Okay. So, does anybody else want to come up on stage because the queue is empty right now? In the meantime, we can check out the comments. I'm right. You're wrong. The debate. Not really. It's more like me asking people questions and them just completely refusing to answer them and then getting kicked for misbehavior. But sometimes we do get good conversations. Sometimes we do get people that don't dodge every question, and I think that those are the conversations that make it worthwhile. And either way, people are still getting educated through the stream. James, are you single? No, I'm not. Suffering can't be the worst possible thing if you'd be willing to go through it. Well, again, you're just Mr. R. You're incapable of thinking of others. Clearly, which is understandable. You're only human, right? So you evolved to be selfish, to not be able to think about helping others. So I can understand why that idea would blow your mind. Is your boyfriend in the movement? I'm straight. Sorry to let you down. He didn't even want to read that comment fully. Well, Alex, you're in the chat talking a lot of garbage, but I see that you're not willing to come up and debate. So I think we see straight through you, Alex. All right. Again, the queue is currently empty, so we need some brave volunteers to, risk the fact that you might get mogged, you might get annihilated in the debate, but take it on anyway, right? Just take that chance anyway and join the stream. Okay, Braden coming up next. Braden, philosopher. Braden.
Hey, man. You having a good morning? I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
So I was reading the website, right, and I'm kind of interested. So how exactly is total extinction of like are you guys going like all organic material? Because, right, you'd have to eliminate all organic material, right, that can like multiply and have like a metabolism and other things, right, in order to prevent future suffering.
Yeah.
How is that going to be achieved exactly?
With infinite time and science.
Okay, let's say what do you mean by infinite time?
Well, we've got all the time in the world. We've got all the time in the world to do it, haven't we? So.
Well, not really, right? Like imagine. No. Like imagine. Also, another thing, how are you gonna like enforce this? Really, like let's say like I don't want to, like I'm not a part of the movement, and I'm like vehemently like in opposition to you. Like, what is your solution to me? What would you do to people like me exactly?
Well, I don't know. We might trick you. We might lie to you. We might.
Okay.
Who knows, right? We'll do whatever we have to do.
Okay, cool. So like, what if the only option was to like pop me in the head? What if like, and I'm like actively trying to stop your movement, and the only way to stop me is to like unalive me?
Well, yeah, if the only way is to provide you with the safety of non-existence, then we would happily do it for you. Yeah.
So you'd just like, you'd go around unaliving people that don't wish to be unalived.
Well, that's the only way to actually cause extinction, right? If you make it optional, then it just won't happen.
So you're fine with like, you think the elimination of suffering in general is like a perfectly good thing. Okay, cool. So you'd say the people that suffer the most are probably in more of a need to be unalived, right? Like their suffering is more kind of like pertinent, right? And they need to be unalived quicker, right? Or like euthanized.
Maybe, yeah, but
Okay.
equally, those who aren't suffering could be suffering even worse, tomorrow, right? So everyone's in infinite danger.
Yeah, but like the people that are suffering. Okay, so we should like euthanize people with like spina bifida and like heart conditions and like people with cancer.
Everyone,
we should go up.
Everyone.
Yeah. Well, we should go, right. We should go. Yeah. No. But I'm saying like these people, right, with like cancer and these other things, right. We should go up. And the quickest way to do this, right? Fuck euthanization, right? That's not going to do shit. That's going to take a little second. You should just pop them in the head with a gun, right? Like that's the quickest way to do this. Right?
Maybe, yeah.
Is to shoot a right. So we should go up right now, right? So you should follow through on what your actual morals are, and you should go up and you should shoot a cancer patient in the face, right? Why, don't run away, James. Braden. Don't run away, James. Don't run away. I challenge you to a formal debate. Anytime, anywhere. I have a person who has like 15K followers. We can set it up.
So your argument is
formally
that
challenge you. I'm formally challenging you.
Patients. Your argument is that I should...
No. I'm going through with your logic, right? I'm going through with your argument. You're saying suffering is bad, right? So we should eliminate it fully, right? Now, it seems like there's some suffering that's more pertinent, right? Me stubbing my toe and it hurting is a form of suffering, but it's not the same as cancer, right? But you want to eliminate all suffering. So I think the quickest way is to shoot a cancer patient in the face, right? That's what you would think, right? You would want the quickest solution, right?
No, you see, Braden, the problem with that is that it doesn't cause total extinction.
Well, no. But you're talking about euthanization, a singular act, doesn't cause total extinction.
And total extinction are different things, Braden. So calm down, okay? You're getting your wires clearly crossed here. Euthanasia extinction, very different things. Extinction does involve euthanasia, but it's not the same thing as euthanasia. Okay, crazy that I had to explain that to someone. Should be obvious, right? And obviously, if we went out and started murdering cancer patients, we'd get arrested and it would just all be shut down. It's not a realistic way to end all suffering. Hello, how you doing?
Yo, it's good.
I'm good. Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, I want to know, like, why is it a right thing to do?
Because suffering is too extreme and terrible to allow. It's not fair. It's not right to allow all of this suffering. And to just ignore it and to just allow, infinite suffering, basically. That's not ethical.
Well, I grant that it's not right, but only because I don't grant that rightness exists implicit or right.
So you think that any sort of crime is okay?
By okay, that's not to denote that it has, like, the property of moral. No, that's not what I'm saying.
You're saying that there's no such thing as morality. Nothing's good, nothing's bad. Is that right?
Yeah, I find the meta-ethical thesis of our theory to be the most possible
you
account.
hear
Now
about
you're
child
interrupting
abuse.
Now you're
and-
interrupting because you lack confidence, boy.
Okay, got you. So you hear about child abuse and it doesn't faze you. You think, wow, that could either be good or bad. I'll flip a coin and see what the coin says, and that's how we'll decide if it's good or bad. It's obvious, that the bad things are bad, but bad people want to make out that they're not bad, right? A criminal is obviously going to say, "Oh, this child abuse right here, no, that's not bad." So subjective morality is basically for bad people who like the idea of being immoral and want to find want to gaslight you basically into thinking that it's not immoral, even though it blatantly is. All right.
How's it going,
Hello, how you
man?
doing?
Where are you from?
United Kingdom.
Okay, what time is it over there?
It's 10 to 1 in the afternoon.
Okay. So, with your plan, where does it start?
It starts by growing the movement until we have enough people to start running the world ethically
No.
and start carrying out
You're not
total
understanding.
extinction.
If you feel so strongly about this, start with yourself and move quickly. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, if it's a good plan to you, it makes sense to you.
Yeah, you're not going to achieve extinction by unaliving yourself. That's not how it works. That's just insane. You would have to be insane, like the last person, to think that that's a realistic solution. No, the only realistic way to cause extinction is to grow a movement until you have enough people to make it happen, right? And I dare you to suggest a better way. But unaliving yourself so that there's nobody to make extinction happen, that's kind of like the worst possible way to go about doing it. So the fact that you would suggest quite literally the most counterproductive thing possible, it speaks volumes about your lack of intelligence, basically. Okay, moving on. We have Justin in the queue. Let's bring Justin up next. Okay, no, they've ghosted. All right, once again, the queue is in need of new volunteers. So if you want to talk, you want to debate, you want to have discussion, ask a question or two, now's your chance to come up. Let's do it. All right, we've got Garrett joining us next. Garrett, how you doing?
What's going on, man? I'm waiting for work this morning, and I can't help but think that, causing the extinction of a people is also suffering, is it not?
No, it's actually prevention of suffering. It doesn't really cause any significant suffering.
So how do you plan on killing everything?
Euthanasia.
Well, there's a lot of ways to go about euthanasia.
Yeah, exactly. So we just have to find the best way to do it.
Well, isn't that kind of relative?
No, you just have to find the most effective way, the most efficient way. If you say it's relative, then everything would be relative. Nothing would make sense in this world, right?
Well, what I meant by that is, doing things one way for one person could be different for another. You see where I'm kind of getting at?
But when you have an organization, usually they'll settle on a way forward, right? They'll decide on a way.
All right. So if the decision was just, let's say, death by drugs, whatever drugs they're using? Will they just keep giving that person that drugs or that animal those drugs until they eventually die?
No, it would be much quicker than that.
Well, I mean, one of our main ways that we go about euthanasia in our prisons is that lethal injection, and there's been several instances where, that's the most humane method, and there's still flaws with that, and that causes suffering.
Yeah, we can potentially, improve the methods, and I like to think that a gas would be the best way, right? Like a little laughing gas, morphine gas, or something like that. You just laugh yourself to sleep. I don't think it'd be too hard to make that, especially if we got the whole world trying to make it happen.
All right. Just figured I'd pick your brain for a few minutes. That's all. Have a good day, man.
All right, thank you, Garrett. But yeah, if gas or euthanasia isn't available, we would be happy to resort to the next best method. And yeah, if you have to use sticks and stones, we would do that as well, right? So we'll use whatever is the best or available method at the time. Okay, we have Tommy coming up next. Tommy joining us next. How you doing? Do you have any questions?
There's no way we're going extinct, bro. Like, because of suffering.
Why not? It's the best reason to go extinct.
Do you think you're ever going to think, oh, I don't know, maybe I was wrong?
No.
Because
how many people are being tortured right now, Tommy, can you tell me something that's so amazing about this life that means that, we need to have children being tortured?
Suffering is a big part of life. It's the contrast.
You're dodging the question, Tommy.
Those are the good things, bro.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
family,
Can you tell us some of these good
whatever.
things that are so good that it justifies children being tortured? Can you name some of these things? Can you name some of these things?
It's a contrast. So not everyone.
It sounds like
can
you
have
can't
good
name
things.
a single thing, Tommy. You're struggling.
I'm saying
You're
family,
struggling.
laughter.
You're struggling.
Whatever.
Can't answer.
Are we struggling?
Can't answer the question. All right, you're done. Pretty early on there, Tommy. Disappointing. We expected more of you. Okay, couldn't even answer the question.
Hello,
Mr. L. How are you doing again today?
I have a couple of questions, but I have a couple of hypotheticals for you.
Okay.
So, if you could tomorrow get a switch that would just end all life in the universe, would you do it?
No, because it's not just about removing life. It's about sterilization of the environment so that life never comes back.
But you know what? There's like a problem to this because like in a couple of thousands of years, there like 99% of galaxies we won't be able to reach them, meaning that we won't be able to sterilize them.
Well, we can still just do our best, can't we?
You mean like only in our galaxy?
We just have to keep doing our best, basically, and just keep exhausting the limits of what we can do and see what those limits are, not try and, decide on those limits prematurely.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but this is physics, so maybe they were wrong in calculating it, but
Well, like I said, I'm not suggesting that they were wrong.
and if you had that dead note, who would you be writing first?
A few people in the chat for sure.
What? What?
Yeah, there's a few people in the chat that
Is
they'd be
it
better off.
that
They'd be
bad?
better off. They'd be better off.
Okay, thank you for your time. Thank you for your time.
Now, obviously, we'd all be better off, except for those who are doing activism to abolish all of the suffering. But we need everyone. We need humanity to continue until we've finished animal extinction, which will take hundreds of years at least. Mr. Space Toon, hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. What about you? Yes, I totally agree with you. I think we should go extinct forever and ever and ever, and we shouldn't be alive at all, because this life is more than just suffering. I mean, boredom is killing me, and yeah, I totally agree with everything you say. I think we should like totally focus on this topic, so
Well, yeah.
we can let people wake up. And yeah, I totally support you.
Great. Well, join the movement through the link on my profile, or
Yes,
join the
I already
Discord.
did. I
Great.
already did.
Fantastic. Well, start making videos, start educating people, start growing the movement. That's the only way we're going to end all of this suffering.
Yes, I totally agree with you.
Fantastic. Thank you for your support, Spacetoon. Good to see some supporters and people understanding that, yeah, we have to do something about all the suffering in the world. We can't just keep ignoring it. All right, once again, the queue is in need of new patriots and new volunteers, new challengers. Can you debate against extinction? If you're not going to join that queue, you're not going to come up and debate, then you have to admit, you have to accept that you can't debate against it, right? There is no argument, and if you did have a good argument, you'd be more than happy to jump on that queue, come up on stage and, throw this whole thing to the floor, basically, right? My entire channel, I'll just delete it, right? If you can argue properly against extinction, I'll just delete my TikTok channel, shut down my YouTube channel, just get rid of all of it. Hello, how you doing?
Hello, I'm okay, man. Are you?
Good, thank you.
Okay, I actually agree with you. I'm just wondering from like a practical standpoint, how would it actually work? Because I do agree. I'm genuinely just curious.
Yeah, so we have to grow the movement until we have enough people to make it happen.
Okay, but regarding like, I would assume you want the Earth to be so inhabitable that no species could ever exist again, essentially.
Yeah.
And is that actually possible? Like from
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
Okay.
even if you just blocked out the sun with a permanent eclipse, that would probably do it.
Yeah, because I've never thought about it, really. Like I've had certain ideas about it, but it's actually interesting seeing your videos because it's made me think more about it, But I'll leave a space for people to actually debate because I do agree. So nice to talk to you, though, bro.
Yeah, thanks for coming up, and yeah, join the conversation with us on Discord. You can Google search "Abolish Suffering Discord" and it'll be the first link, or you can find the link to the Discord on my TikTok profile. And you can also find the link to the website, which has our manifesto, our FAQ. Jesse, hello, how you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
My thing is, you want to end a few that are suffering. What about all the millions that are happy just for a few that are suffering?
Well, it's not a few that are suffering. It's actually the vast majority of the population. So over 99% of the population born onto this planet will be eaten alive as a baby. That's animals in nature. So the vast majority are not having a good time.
Not having a good time to not being here at all?
Well, yeah, I mean, life can be so bad where you would be better off not being born.
Is it that bad, though?
Well, do you understand why euthanasia exists?
I mean, I guess not.
Really?
I mean, I don't see anything being that bad unless you're criminally being tortured or something,
Wow. So you don't think illnesses can do that?
Well, I mean, sure. That's just
Okay.
a roll of the dice you got to take.
Why? So if you were to be tortured for 70 years, would you say, it's just a roll of the dice, it just happens?
It does.
So you would get tortured for 70 years and say, it's just life.
I mean, if that's how I was born, yeah.
Yeah, see, that sounds like an absolute fat pack of lies. I don't believe it for a second, okay? I don't believe it for a second. It's like a slave owner saying, if I was a slave, I'd be having a great time. It's exactly like that. A slave owner saying, if I was a slave, I'd be loving it. Slaves are fine. So you've got to roll the dice. You're either a slave or you're not. Now, I'm not a slave, but if I were like you are, I'm sure I'd be loving it. So carry on being a slave. Amazing. Okay, let's see who we've got next. We have a crazy person joining the stream now.
Well, I think crazy is a bit harsh because you didn't really answer my question, but it's okay. We can move on to a new argument. I wanted to ask, so if the suffering is the worst thing, and in your view, the only way
what do you
to
think
end...
is worse? What do you think is worse?
No, I don't. I've always maintained that I agree suffering is the worst thing. But I suppose, and I don't have that much material to
What do you
debate
think is the
against
second
extinction.
worst thing?
Other than suffering?
Yeah. When you say it's
I'm
like
not
the worst
sure.
thing, it's like, okay, compared to what? It's like it's the only bad thing.
Yeah, sorry, I should have made it more clear. I mean, as in, like physical suffering is probably the worst, and then, yeah,
Why?
and I
Why
think
physical?
obviously,
What's wrong with mental? Right? They can both be bad.
I'm not saying. Well, I think they are both bad, but I just think they're qualitatively different. Where in a way that like I'd rather have,
Why do we need to differentiate?
we don't need to. I never made this point. I was just saying that suffering was really bad, and you started challenging me. But I want to move on to something else. So okay, let's just take physical and mental suffering as the worst things. Would you still agree that there is some good in life, even if it's vastly overshadowed by suffering?
Yeah.
So wouldn't it be better to just try and get humanity to a point where we can try and minimize suffering and increase whether it's hedonistic or mental pleasures without ending all life?
No, because the problem is that it is still beneficial for every single life form to not exist, rather than being in infinite danger, basically. So
Right, but
if you were able to think about this correctly, like you're not, but extinctionists are, then you would understand that yes, the infinite danger completely dwarfs any sort of reward that you might get. So that danger infinitely makes it something that you would not want, basically.
Right. I do understand what you're saying. It's not, and I'm not saying this as like a huge checkmate gotcha moment. I'm just generally trying to see if there are, where the kind of flaws are drawn in this theory. For example, I think a lot of the premise of extinctionism is the hope that one day we can achieve the technology to have absolute extinction. Is that not true?
And no, if we started today, we could start immediately. So it doesn't.
Well, I think that's just dishonest because you're not thinking big enough. I mean, what about life on other planets? If we were the first
I never
type of
said
life
that. I wasn't
which
thinking about that. You're making things up.
Sorry?
You're making things up. I never said that.
What did I make up? Well, you just said we'd start today.
Yeah, why not?
Because if we
doesn't
ended all
preclude other planets.
If we ended all life on Earth today, how would we go about?
You couldn't end all life in one day, right? It will take a very long time.
Oh, so you would just start, but you would still continue to develop.
How would you do it in one day? If you got some sort of,
I'm not saying I would. I'm trying to understand your position here.
Some proton bomb or something that you haven't told us about?
No, I'm asking if you wanted to minimize the suffering of all suffering in the universe, right? Then the way you would do that is by ending all life in the universe. And I was just struggling to understand how you would achieve that if you wanted to end all life on Earth first.
Well, I never said we want to end all life on Earth first.
Okay, cool. Okay, I understand. I was just clarifying that.
No, you weren't clarifying. You were accusing me of saying something I never said.
Which was?
You can't even remember. Are you distracted? Are you reading a book at the same time? You're watching TV while we're having this conversation? You can't remember a single thing you just said.
Okay, right. I'm saying...
You're struggling. This is why you got kicked out last time, because you're just not making any sense.
Well, can I just try and finish my thought here?
You can try.
I was saying that... Okay. Well, if you really want to grow this movement, I just think you should be, more welcoming to people, trying to understand your view fully, rather than just insulting them.
Then if we bend over backwards for time wasters, we'll just waste all of our time.
Okay, well, can I just try and finish my thought, please?
I'll give you one more go.
Okay, so if happiness can outweigh... Sorry, if suffering outweighs happiness hugely, then why can't we just try and gear things where happiness outweighs the suffering. For example, there's kind of an assumption here that we can develop technology to end all life, say on other planets, say through using AI or something like that. Is that true?
Yeah.
So that requires, and if we had all of humanity working on it, which is often what you say, then this could be possible. But I'm saying if we wanted to end things like mental and physical suffering, then why couldn't we just try and develop technology such as bioengineering?
Because it can still go wrong. Because it can still go wrong. So you can only have certainty of safety with non-existence. The alternative requires omniscience. So, that's literally the most difficult thing, hypothetical, imaginable to achieve. So, whereas you can have universe-wide extinction without omniscience.
Okay, but what if, for example, you agree that some people who have lived very good lives, right? Well, whether it's selfish or not, they've enjoyed
A lot of slave owners have had a good time at the expense of others.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we agree. Even if it's immoral, even if there are people who just, find happiness in just living, even just through a moral life, which, I know isn't really always possible, but let's say
it's never possible. It's never possible.
Okay, fine.
There's no such thing as a moral life where you're ignoring the suffering of others.
Well, you're living a moral life, right?
I would like to think so. But I said there's no such thing as a moral life where you're being immoral.
So if we try to, for example, gear all of our, technology and resources that we have, why couldn't we try and bioengineer things so that there's a limited capacity of, for example, how much mental, physical suffering we can feel, but yet you can get all the pleasures of things
you
like
can't
music
you can't limit it. You can't limit it without omniscience.
What does that mean?
You cannot. The danger of suffering is infinite, right? So you can have infinite severity of pain, infinite severity of wishing you'd never been born, infinite severity of begging for death, right? You cannot limit that without omniscience.
Well, I agree that's how things are now, but if we're both speaking about a hypothetical future, I'm saying if we had all of humanity gearing
but again, you can't do it, right? The standard is omniscience, right? Nothing else will provide certainty of safety.
Well, it can never be certainty. You can't have certainty of safety ever.
But it can be. Let's say it can be the way that we're doing it.
But then, yes, okay. But what if we agree that, okay, well, I guess this comes down to kind of like an axiomatic disagreement, but would you not agree that
that's not an argument? That's not an argument.
Wait, but I'm going to explain. I'm saying, would you not agree that a happy existence is better than a non-existence?
No, not when there's infinite danger.
Okay, not when there's infinite danger, but let's say all organisms just had a happy existence. Would you say it's better for them to have existed than not have existed?
If we're talking about like heaven, then sure, why not?
Well, I'm just saying that I think there's ways in which you could make that achievable. So right now, there's infinite risk and potential for suffering.
But our movement already covers that. We already cover that.
Right, but it doesn't cover that because what you're saying is non-existence removes suffering.
Extinction is immediately possible, and the victims need it, right? Creating heaven is not immediately possible. That will not immediately help the victims. We can do that later on after we've helped those who are suffering. To just ignore the suffering and go after pleasure is the most unethical, immoral thing you can do.
Okay, well, I agree that there's not many things we can do now, but there's also not many things we can do now.
There's loads of things we can do now, like extinction.
But you just said yourself, we still have to develop technology to a point where we can take life out on other planets.
Extinction can start immediately.
But it can start, but it's not going to finish. You're still going to have to try and get rid of life on other planets.
We can start helping the victims immediately.
Okay, I have no qualms with that. Okay,
it sounds like you do.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. If there are people who want death, I'm not arguing against that.
No. It doesn't work like that, right? You can't ask animals if they want to die or not. No, you're just being silly. Okay, you're just being silly. You're done, right? You're just being silly now. Okay, moving on. Let's see who we've got next. Hopefully a more serious person. Trixie. Let's try and bring them up. Hello, how you doing?
Hey.
Hello.
Hey.
Okay, thank you for coming up. Let's see who else we got. Okay, next guest is coming up now. Hello, how you doing?
How you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you.
So I'm wondering, with the pro-extinction stuff, is this pro-suicide or no?
No.
No, but why not?
Because that's counterproductive for extinction. The more people we have, the closer we get to extinction, because animal extinction of animals will take a long time, potentially hundreds of years. So the more people we have, the more capable people we have, the quicker we can do that, and then move on to prevention for the universe and humanity afterwards.
Where's this all coming? Why do you want that to happen?
So the only non-discriminatory way to end all suffering is to do it for, as much of the world as possible, essentially.
But isn't suffering a part of life, bro? Like there's some people who have good parts in life and shit,
Yeah, but by that logic, it's okay to abuse children as long as you enjoy it, even if they suffer.
Well, I feel like people get to do whatever they want with their lives. Who cares,
So
right?
you think child abuse is okay?
That's not what I don't think.
You just said that people can do whatever they want, and that as long as someone's happy, it doesn't matter if someone's suffering. So how is that any different?
What I'm saying is, you can't just say there's some suffering and get rid of all joy, because that makes no sense.
But how is that different from a child abuser relationship?
Okay, well, I feel you're saying the child had no joy in his life. He's just getting abused all the time. He has zero joy, like no joy at all. Nothing ever good has ever happened to him. So just because of that one case, everybody should die.
Well, no. Firstly, why should they have to suffer so that others can have fun?
Well, I think if a small group is suffering, why should everybody?
So in your ideal world, everyone would just ignore the screams of that child and get back to their fun.
That's not what happens in real life.
But in a real life, there also isn't just one child. So I'm using your hypothetical here.
What I'm saying is, you're cherry picking.
Right, that's it. You're done. You're done. You're not saying anything, right? You're just saying nonsense. Okay, moving on. Let's see who we got next. Hello, how you doing?
Hey, what's up? So, I totally agree with what you're saying, but, what would this mean for the entire population of Africa? Do you think we should exterminate all of Africa as well? Asia?
Yeah, everyone.
Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. It's
End
power.
all suffering, right? Not just some.
Well, no, it's not because I want to end suffering. It's because, I think
because you're a racist piece of something, right? Yeah, this is why we need extinction, because, we have animals like that, running around and, attacking people of other color, and, causing suffering. The world is just one big meat grinder, basically, full of horrible people like that you don't want to meet, you don't want to have to exist in the same world as, you don't want to have to deal with, you don't want to have to stand behind them in line and smell them. It probably stinks. All right, so nobody is in the queue right now, so we are going to take some questions from the chat. We want to live, James. Well, you can go live whenever you want. James, I'd let you euthanize me. Oh, thank you. James, just letting you know I'm suffering each day you don't go live. Fair enough. Hello, how you doing?
Hello?
Hello, do you have any questions? Hello.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, do you have a question for us?
Hello?
Okay.
Oh yeah, can you hear me?
You're probably outside or something. That's no good for audio, right? Your phone microphone is not going to pick anything up. Right, once again, looking for more people to join the queue so we can get some fresh debates going. And we've got someone. We've got Patrick joining us now. Patrick, bringing you up. Okay. Hello, Patrick. How you doing?
Doing good. So, this is a very interesting viewpoint. I feel like you're confusing with the idea of ending suffering and ending the sufferers. It would be far easier, right, to go liberate the people who are being abused versus
No,
getting
it
the
doesn't. It doesn't work like
entire.
that. It doesn't work like that
Okay.
because even those who aren't suffering today, they could be suffering tomorrow.
Right. So, how long do you think it would take to get the entirety of the world onto your cause?
I don't know, but we can only do our best. Give
We
it
can
our
only do
all, right? Give it everything.
Okay. What like small actions could you take besides just putting your ideas out there to make this a more
Well, instead of taking small actions, it's better to take big actions.
okay? Like what?
Like doing activism.
Okay. Okay. But you could also do that and also there are things you can do to
Patrick,
minimize
it doesn't
suffering.
sound like you're talking any sense here. I think you're struggling hard. You're not making any sense, right? Brushing your teeth with less water from the tap is not going to end all suffering.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all.
Well, it sounds like it.
Okay. Do you read books? Are you a book reader?
Yeah, what's it to you?
Okay. If a book, let's say To Kill a Mockingbird, were to contain a few bad pages, right? A book being a metaphor for humanity, the abusers being a metaphor
Well,
for
no, it's not.
abuse.
It's not that metaphor is not going to work. Okay, because a book doesn't feel pain. Children screaming in pain, they do. Patrick, thank you for coming up and trying to say that we should think of children screaming in pain as books and just lifeless objects, basically, so that we don't have to worry about them actually suffering. It's a great suggestion, and that might end suffering in your head, in your imagination, but not in real life, Patrick. Okay, bringing on our next guest. Hello, how you doing?
Hi, am I being heard?
Yes.
Okay, so it's the second time I see you, I watch you. I don't totally understand what you are talking about in concerning, the extinction. I do believe and I agree that all kind of suffering should end. I don't know the cause, I don't know what it takes, but I'm not into the suffering in general. Starting and beginning with small animals, it's my attitude in life in general. Even I don't kill cockroaches. I'm sorry, I don't. But also I believe about, this kind of suffering. I don't know what is the way to achieve, but I don't care if it sounds extreme or it sounds, difficult. There must be a fairness, though, also to whoever this might concern. So, yeah.
So what do you think about extinction?
Extinction of whom?
Everything.
You mean animals that suffer or people who suffer?
Everyone. So to make sure that nobody suffers ever again.
So a dead Earth, you mean, of live organisms?
Yeah, and maybe the universe as well, if we can.
What about us?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, gone, finished, done.
Or to sacrifice ourselves, you mean?
Well, we wouldn't ask people to do it themselves. We would do it for them.
Uh-huh. Well, look, theoretically and maybe spiritually, yeah. Because also, if you kill the living creatures, that's suffering too, in a way.
Yeah, but it's not less. It's not more suffering than they'll experience anyway. And the act of dying doesn't actually cause that much suffering.
Okay, maybe you're right. Yeah, okay, I don't know. But
it's better than being in infinite danger, unlimited danger of suffering, right? Literally infinite danger. So it's better to have the certainty of safety of non-existence than to be in infinite danger.
What if this planet that we're living in is one of the stages that the soul and people and everything have to go through in order to develop as mentality and everything, and then go maybe when we die in any way we go to another planet which things are easier.
Yeah, anything's possible, but we can only go off of what we can see, and that's the scientific method, basically.
Okay, you're talking about the practical.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Well, I don't know what to say. Maybe I would be in. I don't know.
Well, the victims need it, so think of it that way.
Yeah, I believe so. It's tremendous. The suffering is everywhere, even in the relationships between people. It's not just about hunger or pain or everything. It's a huge mistake. The attitude, the way of looking at things, the way of receiving and acting. I mean, sometimes you can't even explain why this happens in this sort of way. So you just learn to accept it and.
It's a very animalistic mentality to just ignore it, accept it.
Yeah. Of course.
We have to do better than that, basically.
Of course.
Yes. We have to end all suffering.
Yeah.
Armacots, thank you for coming up.
Thank
It's
you.
been a pleasure. Thank you for your questions and for your support as well and your understanding. It's good to see people agreeing that suffering is wrong and that we should protect people. We should protect all life from having to suffer. Haroon, hello.
What's up?
Yeah. Do you have any questions for us today?
Yes. Why don't you take your own life instead of causing extinction?
Because that would be selfish, and I want to make sure that others are
Why?
safe.
Because you can't decide for 8 billion people, right?
Why not?
Because everybody has their own opinions.
But we decide for other people all the time, right? The police decide what you can and can't do. The government decides.
Depends
what
on
you
each
can and
country's
can't do.
laws. It depends.
Hey?
I mean, revolutions happen every time.
Not every time.
I mean, it does still happen from time to time.
But not every time. I would say it's the opposite of that. It's very infrequently that you see a revolution.
So, it's selfish to decide for 8 billion people, though.
Why? Why?
Because not all people want to die or go extinct or whatever.
Right, but it's still in their best interest. It's for the best.
Why is it for the best though?
Because right now they're in infinite danger of unlimited suffering. And so
What?
unless we do extinction, you're going to have unlucky ones who suffer terribly as a result. Or maybe even everyone.
But most people are not suffering to this degree though.
So how many would have to suffer for you to care?
At least tens of millions at least.
Well, definitely tens of millions of people are suffering terribly right now. And billions, if not trillions of animals.
Yeah, should we fix those problems instead of going extinct though?
So how are you going to provide certainty of safety without extinction?
How are you gonna make all people extinct?
It's quite easy, right? Euthanasia.
You can't just apply it on large groups of people though.
Well, you can do it with animals very easily.
Yeah, but you can't even do it you can't just kill people.
Well, why not? Why not?
You just can't
I think if you look in history, Haroon, you'll see that you can do it actually.
Yeah, you can do it for people with power, but you're powerless.
Yeah. So the plan of our movement is to take power and then do it.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Haroon. There was some ups and downs in that debate, but I think ultimately it went pretty well. And he did more or less say, fair enough. So I'll take that. I'll definitely take it. Okay, we've got quite a few people in the queue now. It's looking good. It's looking good. So we're going to start with the bottom and get some people up. Let's see. We've got Christian Bradford. We've got Amari. Now, if you're in the queue and you're not being brought up, it's because we do have a pace to set on the show. We do have to get through new faces, new debates. Amari, hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Hey, so I guess my first question is like, how do you plan to like convince like global elites, like the people who like don't have like a reason to like care?
Yeah, we're not expecting to convince anyone that doesn't care. We're only expecting to convince those that, or to explain it to those who will care, basically.
I guess like the reason I asked that is just because like if you're planning to like and like you can't like target a certain like group, like we already saw like people will be like racist, so you want to get like everyone out like at once. But in order to do that, I
What
feel
do you
like you
mean
would
everyone
need,
at once?
yeah, like
What do you mean?
everyone at once.
What are you talking about?
Like like it sounds like if you want to get everyone at once, that'd be like a global super weapon.
No, I don't. I
Or
think
like
that's less realistic. I think it's much more likely to be, bit by bit.
like door to door.
I don't know exactly how, but unless you have like a proton bomb or something, then how are you going to do everyone at once?
Okay, I guess then like let's say we're going like not door to door or like we don't know the exact approach, but like how are you gonna stop
If it
like
has to be door to door, then it'll be door to door.
yeah. But let's say this like one billionaire is like I do not want to die. Like
Look,
what's how are we gonna stop them?
most likely, 10, 20 years from now, everyone's going to have their own robot. So I like to think that, when the time comes for humanity to go extinct, it'll be like Order 66, right? The robot will turn to you and be like, understood.
This is like self-destruct. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I did have one other thing. So someone did come up a while ago, and they were like, "Okay, like what happens if like my family is like, oh, I just want to live." I think you mentioned that you would take it out on your. So yeah, and I guess like if we have 70 people in this live, and they're like, "I want to live," is it like in our places? Okay, that's okay.
But look,
Yeah.
it's like when you're euthanizing animals, right? They want to live,
But they
but you
aren't
still have to do it, right?
animals. They're like people. Like, oh yeah, I want to live, and I feel like there's people in the world who are.
Humans are animals, really, right? So it
Yeah.
is the same, right? And an animal is going to run away from you even if you're trying to help it, and it's the same with humans.
But I feel like if you're like trying to convince 8 billion people, like you're an
But
animal.
we're not trying to convince 8 billion people. That's never going to work, basically.
So you want to convince the majority and say like,
Well, no,
okay,
no,
let's
no.
start.
Every societal change has always happened with a very small number of people doing it, right? So
But I
when
feel
there's
like-
activism, when there's a movement, it's like less than 1% of the population who want to see the change and who force the change to happen. So
I
most people will
understand
just sit
that,
at
but I
home
feel
doing
like
nothing.
in order to like for this like movement, I feel like this is different from like let's say the civil rights movement where it's like a small like you're trying to convince enough people that are able to like not destroy the world, but like a total extinction. You can't just like have a
Well,
percent
yeah,
of
look, it's going
people.
to be difficult, but we're going to
Yeah.
try and make it happen anyway.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And who doesn't want an interesting challenge anyway, right?
So yeah. Okay. That's all I gotta ask.
Fair enough. Thank you for coming up, Amari. Thank you for your questions. Okay, moving on. We have more people, more fresh faces coming up for debates. Hello, how you doing?
Hey James, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
You can hear me all right?
Yeah, loud and clear. Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, I did. So you referenced this concept of the infinite danger of suffering.
Yeah.
How do you counter that with the infinite possibility of joy that is encapsulated in both human lives and animal lives?
Well, there's not really that much joy there anyway, right? There's not really an infinite possibility of joy, whereas there's much more possibility of suffering, right? No one's having infinite joy, whereas some are having, close to unlimited suffering, right?
Can you establish a basis for that? First of all, establish a basis for the unlimited suffering, because obviously there's a limit to suffering, and that limit is death.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you can suffer for a long time before you get the death, right?
Can you?
Well, yeah, of course you can. People can suffer their entire lives.
Sure, Maybe, but people
What
can
do you
also
mean maybe?
experience.
What do you mean maybe?
People can experience joy their entire lives as well.
So you're happy to say that people can definitely experience joy their entire lives, which is obviously not true, but you think it's a maybe if they can suffer their entire lives.
Why is it obviously not true that people can't experience joy?
You're
their
living
entire
in La
life?
La Land. You think you're in a paradise when actually you're in a horrible place. Obviously.
Do you love anyone?
Well, why are you asking weird questions? Why are you dodging questions? Why are you
That's
saying
not-
weird
that's-
things like everyone's happy and nobody's suffering? Well, you're not living in the real world.
It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
What
that
does it
if you
feel like
experience
to live
joy,
on a different planet?
I'm saying if you experience joy,
What
in your
planet do you live
life,
on? What's the name of the planet?
I live in a planet where people love me and I love other people. And I'm sorry
and that's all that matters.
That's what matters to a lot.
That's all that matters. There's no one else. Forget everyone else, right? If they're suffering, forget them. That's a lovely opinion, and yeah, once again, a fantastic example of how incredibly ignorant people are, right? To say that nobody's suffering and everyone's happy 24/7. I mean, that's like kind of one of the worst examples of ignorance I've ever experienced. Natalie, hello.
Hello, James. How are you?
Good, thank you. Natalie, you can't go to a different app on your phone. It will mute you.
Oh, sorry. I recently commented on one of your videos asking, what will we do, like, as we all age? And you gave a kind of, confusing answer saying that you're not an anti-natalist, which is interesting because you're kind of disregarding the potential suffering of the people who continue
Right,
being
but
born.
you raised an important point in the first place, right? That would be a problem. It wouldn't work.
How do you mean?
Well, when you left that comment, why did you leave it?
Well,
The
because
first
I was
one.
concerned about the suffering that we will experience as we
No,
all
the
continue
first
to
one.
age.
The first one about aging. Right,
Which
you
one was
left that
that?
comment because, obviously, you to do extinction without reproducing would be ludicrous, right? It'd be impossible. So, if you want to end all suffering, you have to have a vehicle to make it happen. So humanity is the solution, not the problem.
Right, so that's another thing I'm concerned about. What is the method,
For what? For extinction?
like
That would
your
be
methodology for extinction? Yeah.
well, first you have to grow the movement, and then you have to take power, and you can't do extinction unless you're the authority. You can't do it, while there's an opposing authority. Start running the world ethically, and start doing animal extinction with euthanasia while removing our dependence on them, and then prevention of life for the universe if we can. Maybe send out the AI to work on it for billions of years by itself. And then, we make humanity go extinct.
Well, why can't we just leave animals alone?
Because they suffer too. Why should they have to suffer?
I mean, should we exert our authority over their lives?
Yeah, we should help them. We shouldn't just selfishly ignore them.
Even against their will?
Well, I mean, extinction is against the will of those receiving it. So, yeah. And yes, absolutely. When you euthanize an animal, right, it's against its will. Would you be against euthanasia?
I'm for ethical euthanasia for people who, maybe don't have another choice if they're suffering and they elect for it. I'm not really for forced euthanasia. I don't really think it makes...
So you don't support extinction?
Yeah, I guess so, because the thing is, if people
Is that a
want
yes
to
or a no?
just... I think it's kind of a mix, because it depends. If they want to not exist, that's fine. If they want to keep existing, if they're willing to take the gamble of continuing to suffer with a little bit of happiness throughout life, if that's worth it to them, that probability, then I guess let them keep living.
So let me paint you a picture here. Let's say there's like a really unintelligent person. They're not capable of looking after themselves. And, they've got loads of illnesses and, loads of like ticking time bombs in their DNA. And they say, I want to keep living. And you say, okay. And then they essentially get tortured after that, horrifically and there's no escape, right? And they get tortured so badly that they're begging for death, wishing they'd never been born. And it goes on for a very long time, just the worst torture imaginable, right? So do you think that it was the right thing to do?
Well, if we can believe that they're wanting to live,
You wouldn't regret that decision. You'd be like, yeah, fair enough. That just
they
happens.
definitely
You got tortured
regret
so
it.
badly that it was just worse than a war crime, but yeah, it just happens.
But the thing is, whether or not you want to
You didn't
live
realize he was
shouldn't
walking
be
into
like a
that,
definite
but
choice.
it just happens. That's your position.
No, I wouldn't say that. No, I wouldn't go as far
So
as to say
the
that.
point is that people saying that they want to keep living, they're not making an informed decision, basically. So we can't just respect that decision when it's incredibly ill-informed.
No, because I feel like now we're entering into tricky territory because
It's not tricky.
we're thinking about, I think it is, because when I think about, for example, the sort of people that this sort of ideology would make most vulnerable would be disabled people. Of course, this idea of
How would it make
disregarding,
them vulnerable?
well, in the way that, even historically, people have thought that they shouldn't have their own right to choose whether or not they want to live or not,
But
because
nobody
we
gets that in
perceive
the
them as
first
suffering.
place, Natalie. Nobody gets asked if they want to be born.
Right, so
So you're
the thing
ignoring that
is,
massive consent violation, which is the problem, and then you're saying that the solution is wrong.
I suppose so, but I still don't support euthanasia without consent. I mean, anything without consent has to be wrong, right?
No. Euthanasia usually happens without consent, as it is. So, would you campaign against euthanasia so that no animal is safe from suffering ever again?
Well, there's certain ethical standards, isn't there? It has to
Like
be a
what?
substantial amount of suffering
Okay,
that
yeah.
they can't particularly, personally have the conscious ability to elect whether or not they want to live or not.
So let's just make it clear. Are you against euthanasia for animals who need it?
No.
Are you against euthanasia for humans who can't make decisions but need it?
Mostly no.
Okay, so I mean, a disabled person that can't ask for help, we can still say that yes, doctors can make the right decision for them, right? And say
Yes.
yes, they'd be better off being euthanized.
Right, yes.
Okay, so we make these decisions for people all the time, right? We don't respect their free will, their decisions. No, that's never happened in the world, right? The world has never been a place where people's decisions and will is actually respected. We have to conform to the world, not the other way around. And basically, yeah, people are better off not existing. So they can't make, if they could make a rational decision, if they hadn't evolved to be irrational so that they would reproduce like animals, then they would be able to see that, yes, non-existence is infinitely better than exposure to infinite danger.
Okay, so I'd like to circle back to your methodology. There's a part of it where you mention ethical government, like before the actual extinction stuff begins. What exactly are your ideals there? Like, what do we do
Well,
before
it would
we
begin
begin?
immediately, but it would
Yeah.
still be done ethically. Yeah. So, like, if we took power today, we would start doing animal extinction immediately. We would probably start offering euthanasia to people. Now, we need humanity to continue for at least a couple hundred years while we do animals, maybe more, maybe thousands of years. But euthanasia should be available for those that need it, whereas it's not right now. And we would work to make sure that there's world peace, and we would try to improve conditions for humanity, make it like a utopia, basically. In the meantime,
Well, that's just the thing. I think, wouldn't it be better to just convince people to not have any more children and age and die?
no, because the problem with that is that if you do that, there's some who are going to suffer terribly, and it's going to be unfair.
Right.
So, because again, they're not making an informed decision. So it would be like letting children walk into the forest, and then 3 of them get eaten by wolves.
Right. That makes sense. All right then. Well, thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you, Natalie. So really, it does come down to the fact that humanity evolved to be ignorant and completely blind to the fact that they're in not just infinite danger, but unacceptable danger as well, right? I don't want to get hit by a car tomorrow and become a paraplegic with brain damage and chronic pain for the next 50 years with no access to euthanasia. And there's worse things than that, right? That's just the tip of the iceberg. So, yeah, humanity evolved to not consider, basically, is this world too dangerous? Is it worth it, right? Would I be better off not existing? Humanity evolved to not think about that properly and to be incapable of coming to the correct decision, which is, yes, I would be better off. Because really, the infinite danger, it completely outweighs, the very shallow rewards and benefits of existing. All right, let's mute that guy in the chat who's spamming. Yeah, and again, if you don't do extinction, you are going to have those that blindly walk into it, because again, humanity evolved to be blind to the risks. So they will always say, "Yeah, I take the risk," right? It's like when you get your contract updated on your phone, and instead of reading it, you just click OK, right? It's like that. You clicked OK, even though the contract says you could be tortured horrifically, you could be screaming for pain and begging for death, wishing you'd never been born. People are just like, yeah, that's fine. So, and that's why they have children and don't care what happens to them. They simply don't care. The less life cared about, responsible decisions and safety, the less it was likely to reproduce. So again, evolution is just one massive journey of making us irrationally reproduce and making us animalistic. We are not the fully evolved, perfect brains that people like to think that they are. We're actually extremely disabled by evolution. And again, how often do you wonder about, if life is worth living in terms of the risks that it could go wrong? Probably never. Hello, how you doing?
Hi, hello.
Do you have any questions?
Sorry, you're James, how do I say your last name?
Idwan.
Idwan, okay. One part of this that I don't understand is that even with all our technology today, we're not sure of life even existing outside of Earth. So if we tried and we're still not able to even know of the existence of aliens, then how would you even go about like the extinction of aliens?
Yeah, so in an ideal world, we'll be able to leave that to AI and robots, and we can go extinct, and they can try to sterilize the universe for...
Oh, so they'll carry that on.
Yeah, why not?
And
that way, they have billions of years to develop the science and try to get to the next galaxy and whatever, right? They've got all the time in the world to do it.
So basically, it'll be this like force that's going around from galaxy to galaxy, just destroying life.
Yeah, I mean, you could think of it as like the Reapers from Mass Effect or whatever.
Well, I've never played that game, but I guess, do you think there's kind of an ecosystem out there that doesn't require animals eating each other to live?
Yeah.
Do you think that's possible?
Even if there are some that aren't suffering, it's still better safe than sorry, right? So,
really?
Yeah, and they could evolve. They could evolve to suffer. Anything could happen. It can still go wrong.
Well, is it even possible to have like an ecosystem with no possibility of suffering?
Well, if you sterilize it, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Thank you for your time. Thank you for me on.
No worries. Feel free to join again if you have any further questions. Right. More people in the queue. Let's bring some up.
Hey, how you
Hello.
doing? So I'm thinking, if what about before humans came? You know how animals, they suffered before that. That's just a course in nature. Why should everybody have to suffer because of how humans feel? Because animals back then, they don't even care. That's a course of nature. So what does that matter? You know?
What do you mean animals don't care? You know, they're not capable of caring, right? So just because they're not capable of looking after themselves doesn't mean that we shouldn't do it for them. In fact, it means that we should do it for them.
But that's not. If it's a course in nature, then what's the point of?
So why do you worship nature so much? Why is it that you know? Do you have a shrine to nature? Do you pray to nature?
No, I'm saying like because nature is obviously before us. Why should we have to care about how they feel if just us is suffering? You know what I mean?
So it sounds like a selfish sort of perspective, where it's like, why should we care about anyone else?
Well, if it's selfish, isn't that kind of contradictory? Because you think that we should, erase all human life just because some people suffer, but other people don't. So I didn't get it.
So you think it's more selfish to have safety from suffering than some suffering terribly so that others can have fun at their expense?
Well, I don't think suffering is everything. I think the way you look at things...
What do you mean suffering is everything? Who said suffering is everything? You would have to be crazy to say that. So you're straw manning, basically. You're straw manning.
Okay, then
you're straw manning, right? I never said suffering is everything.
Tell me what you say about suffering. What do you say about suffering?
Look, there's no point arguing with someone that's just going to straw man every single time, right? It's like, you're talking to someone behind me, basically, that doesn't exist. It's not a real conversation. And it's just a frustrating experience, basically. All right, let's get some next people on. Someone coming up now.
Hi.
Hello. Hello.
Can I say something?
Okay.
I just think that there could be a better idea if you could come up with a better movement, like advocating for only financially comfortable people to have children.
So what about when they suffer? That's okay?
Well, their suffering is not the same like the others.
But it could be even worse. It could be even worse.
How? They have everything ready.
So you think if you have money, then it's impossible to suffer?
Well, they have enough opportunities, so it's on them.
So do you think it's impossible for that to go wrong?
No, it's possible, but the chance
really?
is very
Because it sounds like you think it's impossible.
I'll tell you how. If they suffer, it's on them. It's their choice.
Okay, that's a very stupid opinion. Okay, a child being abused in a dungeon, you can't blame them for that. That's just disgusting. Okay, hello, how you doing?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Do you have any questions?
You mentioned before that nobody's asked to be born.
Yeah.
So what is the point of living to suffer, basically? But surely that makes life more precious, in a way.
No, it makes it worthless, basically.
How?
Because life that is essentially invalidated by infinite risk, right? It's not something you want.
Yeah, but what's the point of living life without risk?
Well, who said that there was a point?
That makes no sense.
So you think it makes sense that there is a point that just magically exists?
It's life. That's how it is.
But it just magically exists. It's magic.
What magically exists?
Is it magic? Is it magic? Where does the point come from?
How do you mean? What do you mean magically?
Does it come from? Is it the point of a magic wand?
You're still not answering what I'm saying. What magically exists?
You're saying that there is a point, a purpose, like a mystical, divine purpose or something.
Yeah, to live.
Yeah, so where does it come from? Where does this mystical, divine, spiritual purpose
come from? You're born into it.
So, okay, so you're saying it's mystical, it's divine, so is that from God? Is it from Jesus? What is it?
It's life. It's you're putting
Does life have a holy book that I can read?
I'm not religious myself, no.
So you said that life is a divine, spiritual.
I did
or
not say
mystic.
that. That's what
You
you
did.
said.
You did.
No,
I
I
said
didn't.
you think there's a mystical, divine purpose, and you said yes.
No, I mean, when
All
you're
right, Sam, that's it. I think we've kind of expended your usefulness now. We're going to move on to Ahmed next. Bringing up Ahmed. Hello, how you doing?
Hey, can you just explain the history on why you think, because this is my first time joining, why you have this take?
Yeah, the movement approached me a year ago, said that they're trying to end all suffering, and I joined and became an activist.
And what is, okay, how do they plan to achieve this?
By growing the movement, and then, yeah, getting enough people until we can do it.
No, like, to cause extinction, you have to kill a significant number of people. Do they plan on doing that?
Yeah.
Okay, obviously, do you know a method of killing people that is painless? Because, I mean, do you think it should
Why
be
does it
painless?
have to be painless?
To be fair, it doesn't have to be painless. Okay, but why? Right? Do you think there's any point to living at all? Because you think there's just a high risk, so it's not worth it.
Yeah, there's no point. It's not worth the risk.
You don't think the reward that you get out of living is equally worth the risk that you're taking?
No.
But do you not see how other people might consider that to be worth it?
Yes, I can see how they could incorrectly
that
think
makes sense,
that. Yeah.
right? Because, okay, cool. So you understand that not everyone will share your opinion, because your opinion is based on the reason that the risk isn't worth
It's
the
based
reward.
on reason.
What is your reason? Because this is a very
Hang on, let me
subjective
I just need to mute my phone. Hang on.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, the point is that life doesn't deserve to be forced into infinite danger with very little reward.
Why? Okay,
and that you are better off not existing than being in infinite
this
danger.
is the subjective take. You think that the reward is finite when people that have a lot to live for and decide that life like. Also, are you religious in any way? This isn't like a religious thing, right?
No.
Correct. Okay, cool. Do you think religious people are stupid?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But that doesn't make their feelings any less valid, correct?
It does. It absolutely does. If you have a very unintelligent person, then yes, absolutely, their opinions are less valid.
Do you think, what are people born with a lower IQ? Do you think then suddenly they don't deserve to live?
It's not about deserving, right? So you've got it the wrong way around. It's everyone deserves to be safe from infinite suffering. Nobody deserves to be forced to live in infinite danger.
Why do you think it's? I don't like the phrase infinite suffering. What do you consider infinite?
Well, there's no limit, right? The amount that you can suffer, it can be basically unlimited.
But it's not consistent.
With what?
It's not. You're not suffering day in, day out.
That's the best argument. That this has to be about me now.
No, it's not about you. I'm not. By you, I'm saying as people. There's always exceptions to the rule. There's people who are living very well off, and there's people who are living very low, like in a low and are suffering day in, day out. But as the average person, if you take an average, you're not suffering to the extent where you can just call it infinite and take a radical opinion where you have
No,
to.
but there's infinite danger, right? Even if someone's not suffering, they could still be the next person to break the
also
world
an
record
infinite-
for most suffering ever experienced.
Right. That. Okay. So you think you should live your entirety of your life being completely scared of this, we'll say infinite risk, and not.
Well, that's it. Most people just ignore it, and then it ends up happening to them.
Because it's not infinite; it's very finite.
But it's virtually unlimited, right?
What do you think is the most reward? Do you not think reward is equally as unlimited?
No. Can you name a single pleasure in this world that is as intense as is intense the suffering of a child being abused and murdered?
This is an appeal to emotion. Anything.
I'm just asking you a question.
Yeah, okay, but whatever answer I give, it only needs to matter to me as a person. It doesn't need to, because this is all subjective.
So,
Right? So
if that's how the world worked, that we just never care about what other people think ever, then you wouldn't have no governments, you'd have no police, nothing would work. Okay, that's a silly way to run the world.
No, the thing you said, like for example, someone who's unintelligent, their opinion matters completely less. Okay, correct?
Why wouldn't it?
Cool. Do you think it matters? So, do you think if someone more intelligent than you has a different opinion, he's more right?
Potentially, yeah. Potentially.
And then the other side of that argument is someone that's less intelligent than you can have a more valid opinion than you. Correct? Potentially.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
but then you're getting into then it gets confusing in terms of partial intelligence and
we're not there's no really objective measure of intelligence. But I'm saying, for example, if you're telling me, can you name something that it has a greater reward factor than babies being killed, right? Or children being abused, right?
No, I'm saying, can you name a pleasure that is as intense as is the suffering of, like being tortured?
But we can't measure that suffering.
You can't, like, we can guess it.
You can guess it. Okay.
No. You can measure it. It is measurable.
How?
Suffering is measurable.
How?
So, I mean, they do it in hospitals all the time. They have, they say, how bad is the pain out of 10?
And then they're giving an opinion. There's no objective measure.
Ahmed, I think we've reached, the end of your usefulness here. We're going to move on. You're dodging the questions. It's obvious that there is no pleasure as intense as that, as the suffering of, extreme suffering in this world, right? Being eaten alive. There's no amount of ice cream that makes up for that. Zainab, hello. How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
I just wanted to ask you, would you consider yourself hopeless in this regard?
No.
No, because to me, and I don't disagree with you, I just feel like you're talking from a state of like complete hopelessness towards humanity.
No, it's not about hopelessness at all. It's about providing safety for humanity and all life, animals as well.
So if on the opposite side, people would, because to be honest, maybe you agree with me or maybe you don't, but what you're trying to do is very much impossible, or like very.
Why?
Like total extinction.
Why is it impossible?
Because I don't think that enough people will ever be convinced by it, and there's just more people fighting for other things. We're seeing people trying to fight all those reasons because of which you want extinction, Like, do you think this is productive?
Like what reasons?
We all poverty, inequality.
No. So conditions have never improved for the vast majority of the population on the planet, which is wild animals. They suffer the worst, and their conditions have never improved in history. So nothing's changed there.
Wait, so do you also want the extinction of animals, or do you just want the extinction of humans?
Animals suffer as well, so we should help them too.
But don't you feel like if humans go extinct, that animals will suffer way less?
No, the vast over 99% of animal suffering is due to nature, and nothing to do with humans. Actually, it's more like over 99.999%.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting to know. How did you even think of all this? If you would like to share, obviously that's a personal question.
I didn't start this movement. It was started by someone else. I just joined it.
And what made you feel interested in it?
Well, when they invited me and said that they were ending all suffering, it was just immediately obvious to me that it was the right thing to do and that it was very possible.
Okay. Yeah, that's really it. So thank you for letting me speak.
All right. Thank you, Zainab. Okay, we have plenty of more people, so we're going to move on and keep it going. Hello, how you doing?
Yeah, hello. I just wanted to say I'm an ethicist as well, but I don't think that this movement would work. Like, I
Yeah,
don't think
that's
most
why
people.
we're not ethilists, because ethilists, are basically all talk, no action. So we're against ethilism. Extinctionism is different. It's about non-discriminatory helping everyone, whereas ethilism is about doing nothing to help anyone.
So how would you implement these actions?
By growing the movement. That's how every change in society and history has worked.
But I think that's the same thing as ethilism because they want to spread awareness to
No,
ethilism.
no. So ethilism is against organized activism, and it's against like a universal system to actually help people. It's strictly basically for wishing and doing nothing.
Oh, so extinction. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, so ethilism is like zero action, don't lift a finger, don't do anything, don't even say anything to help anyone. Whereas extinctionism says, no, that's not good enough, right? We can't just say life is bad and it's causing harm and then not take action, right? So we debated the creator of ethilism, which isn't even a movement, by the way. It's just like a concept at this point. And he said he was against activism, that he was against causing extinction, that he was against speaking out for extinction, and again, so he just said that, like, yeah, just forget it, basically. This is just for fun, and, I just enjoy talking about it. I wouldn't want anyone to actually, prevent suffering. So, yeah, ethilism is terrible. It's like the really, I don't know, mutated version of extinction.
Yo, hi, bro. Can you hear me?
Yeah, how you doing? Do you have any questions?
Yeah. So, what do you think happens after that?
Safety. You rest in peace.
So long, like exactly.
Yeah, nothingness. Like you just don't exist anymore.
Okay, so if after that there is nothing, then why would suffering matter?
So you think child abuse is okay? Doesn't matter.
No, that's actually a logical fallacy called appeal to emotion.
No, I'm
used your own
saying you're saying it doesn't
views.
matter. I'm saying, well, are you sure it doesn't matter?
Well, no, I asked you that because I wanted to use your own logic again against you.
So
Sorry
let's
for
just
my
let's
bad
just
English,
see
bro.
let's see if you're suggesting that that there is a rule, right? That there is a rule that we can reliably use, which is that suffering doesn't matter because you'll die anyway. So by that rule, child abuse doesn't matter, right?
No, wait. I asked you
Okay,
now.
so well, then you're just obviously a disgustingly evil person if you really don't think child abuse is a bad thing, that we shouldn't even care about it. Why ban it, right? Why even make it illegal? Yeah, that's just terrible. And a perfect example, once again, of how irresponsible people are in this world, right? And people come up and say, no, we should let people make these decisions. But they literally think child abuse is good for you. Yusuf, hello, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
So I just wanted to ask, like, is this like are you being serious with all of this? Like, or is this just like a skit,
Yeah,
like a bit?
it's a real movement. We have dozens of people making videos around the world, doing street protests, interviews, debates. We have a website. Yeah, it's a real movement. It's a big movement.
So after all your growth that you're saying, like, you're gonna try to spread the movements, try to spread the word. How are you actually gonna implement like 9 billion people just extinct? Like, how you what's your end goal? Like, how are you gonna remove 8 billion people off the planet?
Well, we have to start with animals, so that will take a long time, and then we do.
So you're gonna
humans.
kill all animals?
Yeah. So with
Isn't that-
euthanasia.
But isn't your whole point to end suffering? But you're gonna
Well,
do
that's
that
how
by
you do it. That's how you
bringing
that's how you
suffering?
end suffering.
What about humans? Are you gonna kill humans too?
Yeah.
So, sorry, I can't take you seriously. You're saying you want to kill 8 billion people to end suffering?
Well, we don't want to kill them. We want to euthanize them so that they don't have to suffer anymore.
Yes, but how are you going to do that? By killing them, no?
Well, putting them down, euthanizing them, yeah.
Yes, but what's the process of doing that? How are you going to do it?
Yeah, it depends, right? Depends on whatever is the best situation at the time. Like, we'll use sticks and stones if we have to, but ideally we could use like laughing gas or something nice.
I just don't think this I don't think you've thought I don't think you've thought it through properly. Like, how are you gonna put 8 billion people in some chamber just to peacefully it just doesn't make sense.
Why not?
Because that's not physically possible.
Well, no, but I never said that they would all go into one big chamber. You just made that up. That's a straw man.
Okay, but how okay, fine. Sorry. How are you gonna do it then?
Well, we're gonna try and find a way to do it.
And why do you think death is the only way to just end all suffering? Like, I understand suffering is bad, but what about all the good to life? Like, why are you so hopeless? That is just, we should end humanity.
Yeah, because there is no amount of suffering which can be justified by pleasure, right? There's no ratio that says, well, if only a few of them are suffering, then it's okay. No, that's actually wrong. No amount of suffering is acceptable.
But I don't think the solution is just to kill everyone. Why not make a movement?
So how else can you end all suffering?
You can do other movements, like you're doing one right now, like
No. How else can you guarantee certainty of no suffering happening ever again?
That's kind of impossible.
You can't. So extinction is the only way to do it. It's the only way
That's
to
not a
provide
logical reason. That's it's like you're also trying to end suffering by
How is
putting
it? You
other people
can't just saying it's not logical. It is not an argument.
What do you mean?
You can't just say that's not logical. You have to explain why it's not logical.
Because how does it make logical sense to end suffering by putting other people through suffering and animals?
But
That's
because the suffering caused by extinction will be negligible. It will be basically nothing.
But what about all the good to life? Like, how comes you're so focused on?
Well, because again, there is no amount of good that can justify the bad, basically.
Fair enough then. I see your point, but I just I don't agree with the whole thing. I don't really take it seriously either.
Because basically your dynamic of let's let them suffer so that we can have fun. That's the same mentality as a slave owner. It's the same mentality as oppressors and exploiters, abusers, basically, that we can have fun at their expense.
I didn't really say any of that, but
well, yeah, but if you're saying that some should be tortured so that we can have fun, then yeah, you are saying that.
I didn't say anyone should be tortured. I totally disagree with.
But Yusuf,
I'm
if
totally
you're saying
against
that we shouldn't have safety from suffering, then you're saying that let them get tortured or risk them getting tortured.
It's impossible to end all torturing or in an ethical way.
Why? Why?
It's just something bad about the world. You can't really do anything about it.
Why? What do you mean? Why can't you do anything about it? We can do extinction.
That just doesn't make sense though. Why?
Why?
I asked you how you
explain, Yusuf. You're not explaining yourself.
Okay, I'm trying to explain. You're not giving me time to explain. You're talking over me. That's why I'm not explaining.
You're all right, Yusuf. I think are you finished then? Are you done?
I had another point, but you didn't let me speak.
Well, you're dodging questions.
I didn't really dodge any questions. What was your question?
I can't remember now because you dodged it like a million times.
Well, okay, good point then. Listen, I'm saying
it was a good point.
Okay, how are you going to end the lives of 8 billion people in an ethical way?
Yeah, so by making it as painless as possible and as fast as possible.
Do you seriously think, maybe even let's say 5 years down the line, do you really think this movement is going to be as big as you want it to be, and everyone's going to agree with you?
No, I don't think everyone's going to agree with us 5 years from now. That would be extremely naive.
Okay, so then when do you see yourself?
So Yusuf, has there ever been a movement in history that had the entire planet agree with it within 5 years?
No.
But what are you talking about? What planet are you
going to
living
make
on?
this possible? How are you going to make it possible? How are you going to make
What planet
it
are you living on where that happens?
Mate, so how are you going to make this happen if no one will agree with it?
Yusuf, the entire planet not agreeing with you is not the same as nobody agreeing with you.
Okay, so even if
Yusuf, I think we've finished you've finished being useful now. Okay, you're just not making any sense anymore. Okay, you're just not having a proper conversation. You've given up. Basically, your brain has given up. Okay, moving on. We've got Salma coming up next. Salma, trying to beam you onto the stage. Hello, how you doing?
Hello. Hi. I'm fine. I always agree with you. You're always on point. But like everyone is watching you now. They should start they should start like making changes for the pro extension. Like they should not have any children in the future. They
No,
are
we
planning.
need more children temporarily until we've done animal extinction first.
Okay, yeah, but they also gonna suffer, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I
So
agree.
thank you, Selma. You know, you can't come on here and give advice for the pro-extinction movement when you have no idea what you're talking about. You don't know that we're against antinatalism. You're not a serious person, okay? And we're very much against people joining the movement that are the sort of person that are going to burst into the Discord server, start telling everyone what to do when they have no idea what they're talking about, and just piss everyone off, basically. So yeah, we don't want people like that. We need humble people, modest people who say, yeah, I want to learn, tell me what's what, how can I help, instead of, oh, you all need to start doing this. Mr.
hello.
Tron, hello, how you doing?
No, good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
So you agree with the flood? Noah's Ark story? You agree with the flood?
I haven't actually, played Halo, but yeah, why not?
No, the Bible story. Noah's Ark when the world
Oh,
gets
right.
flooded.
There's an alien monster called the Flood, I think. But no, because the flood wasn't thorough enough, right? It didn't. It wasn't thorough enough.
No, I'm saying like you agree with it conceptually though.
No.
You know.
Again, it wasn't thorough enough.
The only reason why mankind started over again because God.
No. There's no point starting over again. That doesn't.
No. I'm
achieve
saying
anything.
like just the flood in general,
Yeah, Tron, if you want to do Bible studies, then this is not the place for it, all right? We're not going to be reading, Psalms chapter 13 and talking about Jesus on the Mount or anything. If you want to do that, there's probably some crazy TikTok streams out there for you to go and do that. But this is not the one. All right, we have quite a few people in the bottom of the queue, so I'm going to start at the bottom of the queue and try and bring some people up. Let's see, we have Tilly, the queue needs more people, actually. We need more volunteers to come up. So, I know we've got lots of people in the comments, in the chat, who, they have a big ego. They're saying, James is crazy, this and that. Well, come and say it to my face. Come and say it to my face. All right, let's see. We've got Dreamy coming up next. Hello, how you doing?
Yo, what up, bro?
Yeah.
So listen. I asked you this the other day, but you kicked me out. But okay, so listen. Do you think Hitler was right? Like, actually, because he no.
I wonder why. I wonder why I kicked him out. No, Hitler was not right. Obviously, Hitler wanted to rule the world with cruelty and, Hello, how you doing?
Hi, James. How are you? I've been watching you for a few days now, and you convinced me. I have to say, I definitely agree with the extinction movement. I just wanted to say a couple of things. Some people in here, a lot of people who come up to talk to you I notice are from the Western part of the world, a good majority of them. And we are very comfortable in the Western part of the world. We have it easy compared to other parts of the world. So when they talk about, well, what about people who are enjoying their lives or are having a good time, what about them? Well, they wouldn't have such a great life if it weren't for other people suffering.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And one person suffering is unacceptable and enough. Just one. Or one animal suffering. So it takes, and I think another thing with the Western part of the world, we're very individualistic. We're not about the collective, and we're all connected. We're a social species. We wouldn't survive if it weren't for each other. So it takes other people's hard work. It takes other people's pain to keep us alive.
Not to mention all of the animals people are eating.
Right, exactly. Eating animals, I'm guilty of it myself. So I definitely am on board with this extinction. My only question is though, what happens as you grow the movement? What's going to happen when you have, because there's so many people who are against it in this live. What if people become violent and try to start a conflict or a war or fight you guys on it? Like, what's the plan there?
Yeah, most likely nobody's going to care about it until the movement is much bigger. And yeah, maybe that'll happen at some point in the future. Maybe there will be some conflict. Most likely what it would look like to begin with would it be like crackdowns. For example, in Russia, it is illegal to promote, antinatalism, ephilism, and probably even extinctionism. So I think it's more likely to start with like individual countries cracking down on it and saying, "Oh no, we don't allow that speech," as opposed to like a civil war around the world, basically. But
Right.
even if we got past that and we still grew beyond that, yeah, there might be a war at some point, right? When they ended slavery in America, it did come to a war. But hopefully we'll be able to plan for a better way where we don't have to use violence. So that would be the ideal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but still, you said this would be a long ways from now.
Well, you never know. It could be in our lifetimes. You never know. You just have to give it
Right.
your best.
Right. But yeah, I'm totally on board. I did install Discord, so and I noticed there's an application on Discord I have to fill out or something.
Yeah, it doesn't take too long.
Doesn't take long. Okay. Yeah, I'm totally on board with this. And another thing I like to say, I'm surprised a lot of the more women aren't in agreement, because femicide is such a major thing on planet Earth.
Yeah.
Like women being victimized quite a bit because we are the weaker sex biologically. That's how we're made. And I'm surprised a lot of women aren't on board with this.
Yeah, not many women are. Most of the activists are men. There are a few women activists, actually, now I think about it, to be fair. But yeah, it's mostly men, I guess.
Wow, that's very interesting to me. That's very interesting
But
to
we
me.
do have women. We have several Indian women. We've got people from Poland. We've got people from Germany. Yeah, to be fair, we do actually have quite a lot of women in the movement.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's pretty equal.
You got
Okay.
Shay Tom in the chat. You got Ugly Foyd in the chat. We've got Cora, obviously. In terms of leadership, it's mostly men. There's like three male leaders and one non-binary leader as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, that's cool. But yeah, okay. I hope to see more of you, James. Thank you for letting me up.
Yeah, and I look forward to seeing you in the Discord and joining the conversation there. And as always, consider doing activism, make some videos. It's not too difficult, right? You can literally make a video in 15 seconds on TikTok nowadays. Mr. Clips, hello, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I was wondering, why do you want to extinct the whole planet?
The universe, if we can. But yeah, to make sure that it's safe from suffering.
Safe from suffering?
Yeah. Because basically life should not exist with uncertainty of safety and infinite risk of danger, basically, right? Infinite risk of extreme suffering.
So you believe you're doing a righteous thing?
Yeah, providing safety.
But,
I mean, this extinction will help, infinite, countless life forms.
But the thing is, if the majority of people don't agree with you, how does that make this right at all?
Well, just because the majority thinks something doesn't make it right.
Even the universe doesn't agree with you because it creates life.
Okay, so you think the universe has a brain and, it's like, well, life is good, so I'm going to make it.
Yeah, that's a dodge to my point. My point
Yeah,
is
that's a crazy
thinking
opinion
things
to
right.
have. Thank you for coming up. I think you finished. You're done at that point where you say the universe has a brain and it's making decisions and it decided that life is good, right? Okay, at that point, we can't take you seriously anymore because that's you could use that to excuse anything, right? Any amount of abuse and criminality. Oh, the universe made me do it. Hello, Mr. Vey. How you doing?
Hi, it's Ava actually. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
So I'm just wondering, like, what's the kind of philosophy or thinking behind the fact that even the smallest amount of suffering outweighs all the positives that life provides?
So unless you have a zero tolerance policy on suffering, then the alternative is an infinite acceptance policy. So it's not ethical, right? The only ethical way is to have a zero tolerance policy. Otherwise, you just allow any amount of suffering and don't care about it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but isn't removing the right to life just as unethical?
No, because life is forced to exist, so it doesn't make that. It's not asking for it, and then it's forced into infinite danger. So where the worst ones suffer terribly. So yeah, it's not fair.
Yeah, okay. And back to the other guy that was just on before me, he was saying that, I kind of didn't hear what your response was, but he was basically kind of saying the greatest good for the greatest number is what you should do. And if, most people disagree with your guy's extinctionism, then isn't that making it the wrong thing to do?
No, because again, if 51% of the population is, abusing the 49%, that doesn't make it magically okay. Or do you think it does? Hello? Okay, Ava, everybody, thank you for coming up. Ava's opinion is that, if 51% of the population is, torturing the other 49%, then it is moral and it is ethical. Don't ask me how. Mr. Beijing, hello, how you doing?
Yeah, hello. So I had a question. So a lot of people, like when it comes to, mortality, a lot of people has mental anguish when it comes to I can't even pronounce the word, but moral anguish knowing about their own mortality, right?
Yeah.
And even people that suffer want to live. So how does creating more suffering, mental and emotional suffering, balance the fact that you think this is like a righteous cause, like causing more suffering?
Well, yeah, but you don't criticize the police for, causing suffering to a criminal when they tackle him. You don't criticize a doctor for causing suffering when he injects someone.
Everyone is a criminal.
Well, no, but everyone would be better off not being in infinite danger.
So their consent doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they want to live, even if they like suffering or
yeah, exactly, because they can't be allowed to cause suffering to others or to themselves.
Who gave you the right to make that call, though?
Well, you don't need the right. As intelligent beings, that gives us the right to make decisions. So if you're not an intelligent being, you might not understand.
So you don't need the right to make people suffer, but
well, no, it's about ending suffering, not creating suffering.
You create suffering by ending suffering. You know that, right? It's a contradiction.
So your problem is the suffering, and you think it's more ethical to just allow it. Do you not see how that's kind of completely upside down?
But you're creating suffering though, it's contradictory.
Well, no. It's not going to be more suffering than it prevents, is it?
And mind you, there's 8 billion people in the world. That means you're creating 8 billion suffering beings at the same time.
Well, no, because how much do you really suffer when you go extinct? Not that much, right?
Extinction is not a snap of a finger, bro. So that means people are suffering and they're gonna fight back. So they're suffering.
But euthanasia is infinitely better than the natural death that you would have had otherwise. So
euthanasia, how is that possible? 8 billion people in the world, probably a good half of them disagree with you. How are you gonna euthanize all those people?
Well, we'll do it however we have to.
Bro, your worldview is contradictory. You want to make people suffer to end suffering.
You think causing extinction, You think that involves more suffering than billions of years of suffering?
It will, because people are gonna fight you on that.
Right. So billions of more years of suffering has less
And that
suffering
means you
than.
want to end the suffering of children. You think children
So
want
you,
to
you
die?
you don't think there's much suffering that can happen in those billions of years then?
So you want to cause children
So
mental
Beijing, that's
anguish?
it. You're done. You're done. You've been destroyed, right? You have been mogged at that point. Okay. You clearly can't defend your insane positions anymore. Moving on to SBF. And just to round that off, extinction cannot possibly cause more suffering than it prevents, and it won't cause that much suffering anyway. SBF, hello, how you doing?
Yeah, how are you?
Good, thank you.
So I want to understand that your view on ending suffering is by making the world population extinct, right?
Yeah.
So I want to understand that if that's your view, how is your plan to make 8 billion people agree to basically end their life for
No,
your
that's
cause?
not the plan, because that would never happen. So we have to do it for them.
So you would do it out of their own will, like you would do it without telling them. You would.
Yeah.
First of all, is that not illegal? And second of all, how, like, and second of all, my second point is that if you want to do that, why don't, like, by the way, with all respect, by the way, why don't you start, like, with all respect, if that's your point, could you not technically start and then prove to everyone?
SPF, I don't think we're going to have an intellectually engaging conversation here. Me unaliving myself does nothing to cause extinction. The fact that you can't see that is very sad for you. I feel bad for you. That you really think that, one life causes extinction. Hello, how you doing?
So I'm thinking, what makes the people suffering better than the people who actually enjoy their life?
Well, again, unless you have a zero tolerance policy on suffering, then you just don't care at all about the suffering, right? So we should absolutely care about those who need help more than those who don't need help.
Well, that's extremely stupid. You're stupid as fuck, bro, because you're just ending the
All
world.
right, well, that's not an argument. That's not an argument. So you're done. Thank you. This is the caliber of people that we're dealing with, unfortunately. Mr. Editor, hello.
Yeah, hello.
How you doing?
Yeah, I was just gonna speak about how beings that don't exist, right? They don't feel any type of suffering, right?
Yeah.
And I think your crusade has a lot of ego involved, because if you just stop existing, you don't know that people are suffering, right? So you want
So we can help others by ignoring them. Is your idea?
I mean, when you don't exist, there's nothing that bothers you.
So will that help others?
At the end of the day, right? If you want
will that help other people?
Why do you want to help other people?
Because I want to be a good person. I have empathy for them.
Why do you want to be a good person?
See, this is the caliber of people that we're dealing with, and people say that people like this should be allowed to have
That's
kids.
a genuine question, because usually
this
good
is the
people,
caliber of animal basically that should go extinct.
You said
right? So, but all life obviously should go extinct. But my point is that people are saying, oh, we have to respect their will. They're making good decisions for themselves. You met a human being before, right? Have you met a human being? Have you seen that they're completely insane, right? They are not capable of making good decisions for themselves or for others, right? Have you spoken to a person before? Oh, we have to let humans make their own decisions. No. Have you met a human before? It's not a good idea. Okay, bringing on Joe Spacey next. Hello, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good,
I'm
thank
trying to
you.
pause this.
Yeah, do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, I just don't understand. I mean, I feel like ending all human life is the opposite, and is just actually if some
So
people,
you don't
because
think
there's
that would end
definitely,
suffering?
I think there are people out there that don't consider themselves to be suffering, and so it's not the majority. And so for you to just hold on. Let me just finish my thought. Let me just finish my thought. If you're educated, you let people finish a statement, then you respond. So if people aren't all suffering, and you're just going to determine for everybody else that they all are, and that they can't make their own choices, and that they should all be put down, that's just making sure 100% that everybody suffered, and that's just the opposite. You could use all of that energy to just actively fix the actual problems that you see in society instead of just erasing society.
That's very naive, right? That's not realistic.
No, it's not. It's actually what we really should be doing. What's not
what
realistic.
are you doing? What are you doing to achieve it?
I'm talking to you right now to try to stop you from.
So you're not.
I'm talking to you right now. I even went out of my day to speak to somebody
You're a
trying
hypocrite,
to
Joe.
change
You're
your
a
mind.
hypocrite. You're a hypocrite.
No, you're a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite.
No, because you're giving advice that you're not even willing to follow yourself.
You want to destroy humans to save humans? That's a hypocrite.
Why?
I just explained it. You want to end suffering, to save people? You want to kill all humans to save them. That is contradict itself and makes you a hypocrite.
Would it help some of them? Joe, thank you for proving that you're not capable of thinking about this clearly, right? One little question just completely destroys your argument, right? You were speechless. Couldn't even, oh my God, I can't believe I hadn't thought of that, right? You're not thinking about this very clearly, right? He was speechless. Okay, moving on. Why did we kick him out? Because he gave up, right? He didn't answer. Hello, how you doing?
Yo, what's up?
Yeah, do you have any questions?
Yeah. What if people like living?
Well, the problem is that they're not making rational decisions. So even if they like something, it doesn't mean it's good for them.
I got it. Your decision's rational. Got it. Right, that's all my questions answered. Thank you.
All right, yeah, thank you. But yes, absolutely, the extinction position is more rational, 100%. And again, you just need to listen to the caliber of people coming up here to think, oh, yeah, maybe it's true. Hello, how you doing?
Yeah, so the question is, what I think her name was Diana. She was saying, and you were saying is, why is one suffering, just enough to cause total extinction? And I just think of it like this, chat. So if you're listening, so would you want to torture yourself so 10 other people could live comfortably, or not, to live comfortably? I would think no. Most people would say no, and I would probably say no. And that would tell you right there that suffering is worse. Suffering and happiness are not equal opposites.
That's it, exactly.
That's all I had to say. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming up. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's absolutely not worth it. The people that want us to ignore the suffering and to let it continue, they want us to ignore it, right? If a child is screaming in pain, asking for help, their advice is to literally put your music headphones in and look the other way, right? That you should focus on the pleasure, not the suffering. How does that make sense? It's literally advocating for evil, right? It's literally saying we should ignore suffering. Hello, Daniel. How you doing?
Hello. So I wanted to ask you, if a lot of people wanted to die, right? Like some people, if they want to die, and they think that everyone should die to end suffering, Why can't they just end their suffering and let the people who don't suffer just live?
Because it doesn't work like that, right? Most animals are getting eaten alive as babies, right? Your solution doesn't apply to them. Children, babies, disabled people, your solution doesn't apply to them. People with anxiety.
If you're living with a lot of pain, if you're living with chronic pain, or you don't want to live anymore, just take your own life. But
so
don't
why do you
ruin
think?
it.
Why do you think assisted suicide clinics exist?
It's to make them feel better for living, to live, so that they don't want to die.
Daniel,
it does work.
You think assisted suicide clinics exist so that you don't commit suicide?
Oh, I thought you meant therapy. I'm not English.
Okay, so in like Sweden or Switzerland, wherever the hell it is, right? You have clinics where you go to die, right? So why do you think that exists?
So if only
you're suggesting they don't even need the clinic, right? They can just jump off a cliff. So why do you think the clinic
if only
exists?
you want to die, you can go there, but you don't need to like kill every living being that wants to live.
But why do you think that clinic exists, Daniel? You're not answering the question.
It exists so that you can die yourself.
And why don't people just do it without the clinic?
Then you're also dead.
No, so you're not answering the question, Daniel. Why do you think people would rather go to a clinic?
Because it makes dying easier.
Right, and not only easier, but possible, right?
Yeah, but it's also
so
I'm
disproving, I'm debunking you, right?
It's also possible without the clinic.
Yeah, but no, it's not, right? So why do people go to the clinic then? Why do people suffer terribly for years to wait for the clinic? It's because they can't do it.
Yeah, so they
it's not
have
it's
a
not
will
as easy
to live.
as you're
They want
suggesting,
to
Daniel.
live.
It's not as easy as you're
feel
suggesting.
better. They want to feel better, and they have a will to live, and they are
Daniel,
seeking
you're
for
not living on the same planet as me, right? People do not go to suicide clinics to feel happy, right? They go to walk through a park for that, right? This guy would go to Auschwitz for fun or something, right? He's obviously crazy. Okay, let's see who else we got. But no, most suicidal people they can't bring themselves to do it. So they're trapped, basically. And to say that they're not trapped is just ignorance, complete ignorance. Hello, how you doing?
Good. So I noticed the only in this premise. Why do you think, obviously we want to, remove suffering, right? Because like you've mentioned, unneeded suffering such as children dying, etc., that is bad and we should work towards it. But do you have any justification for why suffering would inherently devalue life? So for example, people can suffer and their lives still have value. They still find
you
value
think
in
the
their
fact
lives.
that you can end up begging for death, wishing you'd never been born, that doesn't devalue life at all?
No, because it's it's based on the quality of life argument. The inherent value of a human life.
So for those that are begging for death, you
dictated by
think
your
that life has
emotional
the same
state.
value? You think life has the same value for them?
The life would not appear to them to have the same value, but objectively,
well
from
done.
a non-emotional viewpoint,
Wow,
life
so
has
that's
the
an
same
emotional
value for
viewpoint.
everyone.
That's-
Life has
so-
the same value for a person with Down syndrome
Not
as a
wanting to
person
be tortured
who
is
does
just
not
an
have Down
emotional,
syndrome.
stupid opinion, basically.
It's not an emotional, stupid opinion. It's simply an opinion that they have. People who suffer would not
it's
necessarily
simply an
want
opinion
to
that they
die.
have. You're not bringing any sort of in it's like the least intelligent thing you could possibly say, right? He was pretending to be intelligent while not actually being it, saying people just have that opinion, right? Some people have this opinion. It's like, okay, thank you, Captain Obvious, right? You're literally saying nothing, right? Literally adding nothing to the conversation. Okay, moving on. We've got Kite Wheel. Hello.
Hey, so you think suffering is bad, right? So your shirt says Squid Games on it.
So if you think suffering is good, why don't you go out and
No, I never said that. Why are you putting words in my mouth? Okay, so why does your shirt have like Squid Games on it? Isn't it a show about people suffering and trying to survive and stuff?
All right, that's an amazing argument, right? His one shot at defeating extinction in a debate is to talk about my T-shirt, right? If that's the best argument you've got, then you're out of here. I mean, that's just sad. Like, that's genuinely saddening, right? That genuinely makes me sad that was his best shot. Hello, how you doing?
How you doing? You're right.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Just I got to know you 1 week ago. I've watched you came on my my feed. Yeah, I've watched some of your videos, but I don't know what's the ultimate goal. What do you want to achieve? Please, can you explain to me, if you don't mind?
The maximum prevention of suffering.
So what's your goal? What do you want to do? Like practically speaking.
Yeah, so we have to grow the movement until we can carry out total extinction.
So you want to what exactly are you going to do it, or people will do it themselves?
Well, our movement, yeah, we'll do it for them. We won't ask them to do it. That would be cruel.
But when would that happen?
I don't know yet. We just we don't have an exact date. We have to just make it as soon as possible.
So which weapon would you use to
Sorry?
unalive? Which weapon would you use to unalive?
I don't know. I think the best way would probably be like euthanasia with, morphine or something.
Morphine. So what do you think will happen after our soul gets disconnected from our body? What will happen?
You just stop existing.
Do you have evidence for that?
Do you have evidence for anything else? And yes, actually, we do have evidence, right? There's plenty of evidence. The
Because
fact
us humans, we are energy being.
Yeah,
we know that we can't be
we're not,
destroyed.
right? The fact that your brain and your mind changes over time is evidence, right? So, the idea that there's an afterlife, you're going to wake up and you're at the pearly gates, right? Okay, no. Look, if you get brain damage before you die, do you turn up in heaven with brain damage or without it, right? It just doesn't even begin to make sense. There'd have to be so many rules for this to work, right? The idea of an afterlife is completely incoherent, inconsistent. It could only work if there's like, a fully intelligent being accounting for all of these things, like you got brain damage before you died, or you broke your arm in the car crash, right? We'll fix that for you. We'll fix that, But well, yeah, it's just insane. It's they think that's more realistic than the alternative of just non-existence. All right, next person coming up. Let's see, Mr. Earth. Hello, how you doing? Hello, Earth. I'm guessing you joined by accident. No worries, it happens quite often. Bringing on our next guest, Mr. I Think. Okay, no, they've ghosted us again. We're going to move on again. Mr. Lepowski, hello. Okay.
Am I legible?
Yes.
Yeah, your post came up and it was talking about how there was no argument against what you believe. Like, compelling.
That's
But
correct.
surely,
There is no argument.
surely I don't want to is enough of an argument.
That's not an argument.
Why not? I think ethically I have my rights. I shouldn't have to comply with that plan. I'm not arguing
look,
necessarily, right?
life is more complicated than that, right? Just I don't want to is not going to be good enough.
But why not?
Because we have to consider if people are making fully informed decisions, right? In the same way that, a chick who gets, blackout drunk and then consents to intercourse, right? She could potentially still, file assault charges, right?
Sure, but
So
I don't really see your
the
point.
decision-making capacity is compromised, and so no, respecting that leads to, extreme harm.
I think ethically, you're arguing for like a utilitarian sort of perspective here, where you think overall that will result in the most joy, well, zero, but I mean not negative, I assume. But I think if I'm not utilitarian, I just care about what I feel.
Yeah, I'm not a utilitarian.
Oh, really? I feel like your perspective really.
Well, I haven't mentioned it
talking
once,
about
so
suffering.
we don't need to go down that road. Really, it doesn't add to the conversation.
No, I think it does. I mean, you're talking
Well,
about
straw
suffering.
manning me with a position that I don't have, that doesn't help.
You know, no, I just find
It
it
might make it
interesting.
easier for you to argue against, but it's not going to be relevant.
I don't know. I think you're
Yeah,
talking
it might
about
be again. It might
very
be
like
easier for you to argue against something that's nothing to do with this, but that's not what we're here to do, right? If you want to come up and debate Lego, yeah, I'm going to kick you out as well. Hello, how you
Yo,
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Right, so how are you planning to wipe out humanity? How are you going to do it, mate?
By growing the movement, that's the first step.
Yeah, but how are you going to kill us all? That's my question for you, mate.
Not sure yet. Not sure yet.
Not sure yet.
Well, think about it this way, right? We have to
when you were young,
yeah.
did you idolise Hitler by any chance? Or was it Thanos?
No.
Who was it that's inspired you?
I was an adult when Thanos came out.
Do you have an Infinity Glove? That's my main question.
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you see, extinction is about compassion and ethics, not, having some jollies and pretending you're Thanos, right? The suffering in this world is serious, but, these people, they can't take it seriously because they're not serious people, right? Obviously. Someone that comes in and starts going, right? Obviously not
Hello?
a serious person. Hello, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Do you remember me?
No.
Okay, I came up like the other week, but you kicked me out.
Okay. I'll get my
Okay.
kicking finger ready.
No. It was like after like 20 minutes of conversation. So your point for causing extinction to everybody is because a number of people are suffering. And so therefore we should just exterminate everyone.
It's not just that those that are suffering right now are suffering, but everyone is in danger of suffering. So it's
Okay.
better for them to be safe in non-existence than to be in infinite danger.
I think that your argument lacks ethical reasoning and compassion, as you were saying for that last person, that there was
Well, it's the only way to minimize and eliminate suffering, right? To provide total safety for everyone.
Okay, so what about, let's say like there's in a hospital, there's like 100 patients and there's a disease and 80 of the patients get cured of the disease and 20 of them still have it. Surely the logical, more moral response to that would be pouring all resources into helping those 20 patients who are suffering rather than euthanizing all 100 of the patients, because there's a chance that it could come back. There's a chance that they could get sick again.
Right, so let's say that you save all of those people and then they get released and then they all get kidnapped and tortured horrifically for the rest of their lives, right? Was it really a good thing?
What do you think the chances are of that happening though?
Too high, right? Too high.
How high is too high?
But that's just one example. So the chance of something bad happening, right, is very high. And even the smallest chance is too high. So life should never exist without certainty of safety, because the alternative is infinite danger. And that's not ethical.
Well, but suffering isn't a static thing though. It's not something that we are stuck with our whole lives.
Well, it can be for those who are worst off.
But statistically, for the majority of people, over time, post-traumatic growth is shown that people will actually have a better outlook on life after they've healed from trauma and suffering.
So how many people living lives where they would have been better off not being born is too many?
I'm confused though. What do you mean by they would have been better off dead? What kind of people are we talking about?
Lots of life forms on this planet experience suffering so bad, a life so bad where they would have been better off not being born.
So do they think that, or do you think that?
So you don't think it happens?
I think that people definitely think that they would have rather not
So
been
you
born.
don't think it happens, all right? You're not a serious person.
What?
To think that nobody has ever lived a life so bad that they would have been better off not being born, or an animal. I mean, how many animals get born like literally into the hands of sadists, right? Like real sadists. So that's just a level of naivete and ignorance that's just beyond dealing with, right? And she's moaning in the chat. Yeah, he kicked me because he couldn't argue against me. Right? Yeah, I didn't want to argue against someone who's so ignorant that they don't think that in the entire history of this planet, any animal or human has ever lived a life that they would have been better off not living. right? That's a level of ignorance and just fantasy that it's like, you know, I might as well be talking to a brick wall at that point. I would literally have a more productive conversation. Hello, how you doing?
Hello, I'm doing good. I just genuinely think you're kind of crazy, you know. I think life is beautiful, and if your life sucks, you can end your own life. Why spread?
Is that always the
Uh,
case? Is that always the case?
yeah,
So how can a baby end their own life?
they can't.
Oh, so it's not always the case then. Wow. All right, you're done. That was pretty quick. Right? That was pretty quick. In and out, right? In and out burger. Proven wrong instantly.
Hello.
Hello, how
Hi,
you doing?
James. Hey, how are you? I kind of want to argue against your movement.
Go for it.
I understand it, and I've been on the live before. I have one question. So, would you say that giving birth to a new life form, let's say you have a child, would you say that that's wrong, since there's no consent?
It depends on the context.
And what would the context be? What decides whether it's wrong or right?
Well, sometimes, you know, an action can be right in the greater context, even if it causes harm at that moment.
But what would that context be? What are the variables that decide the context for you?
I mean, just use your imagination, right? You know, is it wrong to tackle a criminal if it breaks his ankle?
No, I mean in the context of birth, giving birth to a child.
Okay, well,
What would make that birth right or wrong for you?
Yeah, so for our movement, we need humanity to keep reproducing temporarily until we've helped animals and life that can't help itself before we help ourselves.
Okay, interesting. So going off of that, let's say you create that perfect world, people have reproduced far enough for you to conclude your research, right? Or actually a better way to phrase it would be, let's eliminate every other variable. In isolation, would giving birth to another human being be right or wrong, according to you, in your opinion? In isolation.
Yeah, I would say that it would be wrong unless it's done for, like, you know, objectively right reasons.
Okay, and for you, one of those objectively correct reasons would be to further research and improvement so that we can end suffering. That's something that would justify it.
Yeah.
Okay. And part of your movement, the end goal, after the research and everything has been concluded, let's say we come to a conclusion that either this is possible and that isn't.
Well, no, it's not about research. It's already possible. So
I know. I'm just
we could
talking
start
about
immediately.
the optimal way to do things, to conduct an extinction.
Yeah, but that's not as important as, you know, it doesn't have to be optimal, right?
Okay, but regardless, you mentioned yourself that you want to conduct research, right? Humanity has to reproduce, etc., for a given time. Okay, and let's say we get to the end goal, and it is now time to commence with extinction, right? Not euthanasia, not people choosing to be euthanized themselves, but actual extinction. Would you also be eliminating people who otherwise would have wanted to live?
But you can make people that, you know, want the wrong thing, though, right?
Agreed, but you'd have to justify that that's wrong, having want to have lived.
So you can make someone want to get tortured, and that would be okay.
What does that have to do with my question?
My point is that we can't just, you know, give infinite deference to people's decisions when they're making, you know, incorrect decisions.
But you have to justify the claim that someone wanting to live is incorrect.
Oh yeah, we can. It's very easy.
So how would you make that justification?
So yeah, because basically it's unethical for life to exist where it can cause harm to itself or to others, right? And so yeah, it is in everyone's best interest to not be in infinite danger for very little reward, essentially.
A part of your movement's manifesto is after the research has been conducted and we come to our given conclusions and we know everything we need to know to keep going and actually execute. You've made the distinction in the Discord as well that depending on whether there is or is not suffering after what we've done, after research, etc., we either commence with extinction or we don't, right? And let's say we come to a point practically, right? I'm speaking pragmatically this whole time, right? Pragmatically speaking, we get to that point and there is a given amount of suffering that is largely outweighed by enjoyment. Would you then only commence with extinction of those who are truly unhappy with their existence? Or
No,
would you
so-
throw the eggs in with the chicken?
But it wouldn't work like that. So life will only get to continue existing if there's certainty of safety. So there would be no victims, basically.
So your answer is if there were sufferers that were outweighed by a majority of enjoyers,
Well, no,
you would
the point is that that situation wouldn't be valid, right? So it's not a good hypothetical. So it
How wouldn't it
really
be
just comes
valid?
down to whether or not there's certainty of safety or not.
But why would it not be valid? Isn't that the entire point
Because
of...
if there's certainty of safety, then there would be no suffering.
Yes, but the movement, practically speaking, gets to either a point where there is more suffering than enjoyment or less suffering than enjoyment.
No. That's not how it works. That's the current system. Ours is a zero tolerance policy.
And so practically, how would you then conduct
You
this-
really thought
conduct this
extinctionism
movement?
was about a ratio of allowing some suffering? It's literally the movement to end all suffering.
I did not think that. I was trying
Sounds
to
like it.
present a hypothetical.
Sounds like it.
No, I know
It
that your
sounds like
movement is
it.
either about throwing away all
No,
suffering.
it sounds like it.
I know you have a zero tolerance policy for suffering. I don't think you understood the question.
I think I did. I think I understood it a bit too well.
I've been in the Discord and I've asked the same question, and you responded to me yourself saying, if there is suffering at that given point, we end life.
Yeah, if there's
And if there is no
possibility of
suffering, we
yeah.
don't end life.
If there's possibility of suffering, yeah. So what don't you understand?
What I don't understand is how you think that's morally sound. That's where I was going with it. Right? If there's somebody who wants to
So
live,
you think
can't
it's more
justify
morally
ending their life
sound
because there are
for there
people
to be
that don't
infinite
enjoy
danger?
existence.
How does infinite danger fit into a moral situation?
Because a moral situation is depending on context, not on possible danger.
Right. So yeah.
On immediate
possible
context.
danger irrelevant, right?
We make moral choices depending on immediate context, not on possible danger.
So we should make rushed decisions, basically.
Well, I'll give you an example. Let's say we have a criminal
Okay, I think
on the
you're done.
streets.
I think you've finished now, right? It's just nonsense at this point. But this is not surprising, right? I've said this a million times. People come on the show. It's like the first question or two. It's like, yeah, that's a fair question. And then by the end, it's like, whoa, this guy is completely insane, right? He's just asking completely upside down questions. He's not making any sense. He's just gibberish. It's basically like he's had a stroke, right? That is not a coincidence or anything. That is what will happen on this show, because we are pushing irrationality to its limits. So the more you bring a rational position like ending suffering, and the more you expose it to an irrational person, the more desperate they will get, right? So they start off by, again, coming out with the least irrational sounding questions or counter arguments, where it's like, yeah, that's a fair question. But then the questions or counter arguments get less fair, right? Way less fair, to where it's like, oh my God, did he actually just say that? So look out for it on the next debate, okay? Look out for, do they start off sounding reasonable and do they get more and more insane as it goes? Are they dodging questions? Are they saying completely insane things that no rational person would ever say? That's what you need to be looking out for on this show. So let's take on the next guest and see if that holds up. Okay, bringing up Rick now. Rick, hello.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, how you doing? Do you have any questions?
Look, I'll tell you like this. I agree with you partly. What you're supposed to do is stop. Don't go again. Don't try to finish all life. Do something that everybody should have a free will to end their life, like to go to a
But
place and get a shot.
for example, on Epstein Island, would you have had like a noose hung up, like emergency noose, break in case of emergency? You know, if the children can't take the abuse anymore, then it's okay. They can hang themselves.
Yeah, anywhere, everywhere, all over the world.
Right. So yeah, you know, again, you know, his irrationality, it was pretty immediate. Okay, so that was a bad example there because he was crazy from the beginning, right? Okay, so now I bring up the Epstein example because that is genuinely what they're suggesting, right? They are saying, yeah, children being abused should just have a break in case of emergency noose. Lamas, how you doing?
Hello.
Yeah, do you have any questions for us?
Sorry, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Right, so please can you say your manifesto to me? Can you summarise it in about 30 seconds for me, please?
I don't know. I didn't write it, but I can tell you that
You
it's
can't tell me your own views.
I can, but the
Okay,
manifesto wasn't written by me.
But could you sort of summarise your views in 20 seconds then, please?
Okay, yeah. We have to have a zero tolerance policy on suffering. It's the only fair and right thing to do to protect everyone from suffering instead of allowing some to get tortured so that others can have fun at their expense. It's not fair, it's not right, and everyone would be better off not existing rather than being in infinite danger where they could suffer the worst life ever lived at any given time.
That's
Hold
brilliant.
on. What?
Oh my word. That's
Hold on,
actually
I think you've convinced one of my friends, actually.
Well, he might be smart. There are some
That
smart people
was
out there.
compelling.
That was
But anyway, let me just debunk that for you. So, you know Hitler and the Jewish people? He forcibly killed them in concentration camps, and he
Oh, wow.
believed that they were
Didn't know
unworthy
that.
of life. And the view that you're expressing here is that every human being is unworthy of life, essentially,
No,
because you're
no,
saying...
it's not that. No, that's wrong. It's not that they're unworthy. It's that they would be
Gee,
better
I
off
think you
safe.
should respect
Hold
him,
on,
man.
so...
Kick him, man.
So, if we don't have a say in whether we're euthanized under your views, how are we worthy of life in your view? You're basically saying that we
Yeah,
have no
because
worth.
it's not that you're unworthy, right? It's not about that. It's not that you're not good enough. It's that the environment is too dangerous for life to exist.
So, how are you going to do it? How do you plan to kill humanity?
Euthanasia.
But do you believe that's humane if you're forcing people to be euthanized against their own will? Because they
Yes.
will go through suffering mentally in their minds because they'll think, I don't want to be killed, and bloody James Sid Iodine's just going to kill me. It's terrifying.
Yeah, but it's still going to be better off than what it's protecting them from.
Life will always evolve again. You can't fully exterminate life.
Well,
Yeah.
we can try and prevent that.
How?
Science. We have all the time in the world to do it.
All the time in the world. But the longer you prolong this science, the more suffering we're
Also,
going through.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Hypothetically, say the government, say all the world governments decided this was going to be carried out. In that period leading up to this mass euthanization, there would be countless numbers of people going through like immense trauma and like conflicting emotions and like fearing their lives. It's just contradicts your own view.
Mate,
Well,
if you
it
rocked
doesn't-
up to my
it's not a
door, I would shit
contradiction, right?
myself.
It would be like a little pinch, right, compared to billions of years of more suffering.
So, how do you think we're worthy of
It'd be
life?
like just a
if
little
you've
pinch,
said
basically,
You're going to
compared
kill
to
us
that.
all. How do you think that we're worthy of life if you're going to kill us all against our
But
will?
again, it's not about being worthy, all right? It's about nobody deserves to be in danger.
Do you have parents?
Yeah.
Are they still alive?
Yeah.
So you're basically saying that you'd want to see all your parents and all your family around you just die. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So I've just seen that you've done a section where you're calling people insane. You're saying that people sound out of pocket. They sound like psychopaths. You've just said on a live stream in front of 100 people that you want to kill your family and your parents. Can you
no.
just acknowledge that? Do you think that that's a rational point of view?
Yes.
Yes.
They
So-
would be better
Oh
off. they would be better off safe from suffering.
So, you know the under 16 ban, I think this is why it's happening on social media. People like you are being indoctrinated from a young age. Where have you... See, that's your mum there! Does she know that you want to kill her?
That's
Yo! Run away! He's gonna kill you! Get out the house! Please put me on the line to your mum, I need to save her.
Look, we are against violence, we're against self-harm. Humans don't have anything to worry about for a long time.
I'm against killing your mothers, bro.
But
Don't do
my
this.
family is not, it's
Save
probably not going to
her.
happen, right? We have to do animal extinction first. That's going to take hundreds of years before we move on to humans, okay?
What about when everyone will starve to death?
Yeah, what about my cats? What if you kill him?
Yeah. Look,
Hold
Cora,
on, I've got
hopefully
a
it'll be a
cat
short
called
time,
Ziggy,
right?
and you're
we
gonna
can
kill it.
end your suffering quicker, we'll do it.
Would
But it
you
has to be done
personally
in an
kill it?
ethical, organised way.
Would you? I feel like you need to train some martial arts or something first before you start killing us, because you might get a bit of resistance.
Well,
Maybe-
ideally,
maybe a
we'll
bit of
have like a
taekwondo.
robot army to do it, basically.
A robot army?
Well, think about it. Right, think about it. If we're saying that this isn't going to happen for hundreds of years from now, then by then, everyone probably will have personal robot assistants. So ideally, we can just give them Order 66, take out the Jedi, and they'll just turn to their user and euthanize them.
So basically, you've gathered this worldview because you watched Star Wars twice, and that's just altered your life, has it? Is that what's gone on? Because
No.
that's what I'm feeling like right now.
No, it's nothing to do with Star Wars.
No, but please
that
could you
is a good
explain to me where you've gathered this view from? Because this is like genuinely concerning stuff, mate. I'm concerned for you.
I'm sure you are, even though you're 18 or something.
18?
It sounds like
Mate,
it.
I'm
Maybe
55.
So, where did I get this idea from? The movement invited me to join a year ago, and I joined and started doing activism.
Who was the guy who invited you to the movement? Who was this, mate?
The person who created the movement is called Steve, and they're from India.
Steve from India?
Yes, and if you want to see their YouTube channel,
How
it's
did
you
you
just
meet
search
him?
Pro Extinction on YouTube and you'll see it.
How did you meet Steve, mate? Let's get into the lore behind this all. I'm intrigued.
Well, I didn't meet Steve at first. I was on Reddit, and one of the many activists in the movement reached out to me on Reddit and said we should end all suffering with extinction. And I said that's impossible. And they invited me to a debate, a live stream debate on YouTube. So I said okay. And it didn't end up being a debate because I couldn't argue against it. So I ended up saying, yeah, how do I get started? How can I help grow the movement?
You know what, mate? You are just brilliant, to be fair, because my mate heard you speak for about 10 seconds, and now he's trying to kill his family. He's gone home, he's grabbed all the weapons in his house, and he's just trying to wipe them out. It's great. Honestly, you are an inspiration, mate. Do you know that? Just acknowledge yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back, because you're just brilliant. I honestly love you, mate.
Yeah.
You're just great.
Yes, thank you, Lamas. Now, we are against violence, we're against self-harm, we are a strictly peaceful movement, and we are completely against any unlawful or illegal activity. And that's not a joke, right? And that's not tongue-in-cheek, that's not coded language. We are actually against all forms of violence because we need humanity to continue until we've helped animals. If humanity goes extinct or gets to half of the population it is now, it's going to be very difficult to help animals to end their suffering with extinction. So we have to do animal extinction first, remove our dependence on them as well so that we don't need them anymore. And then we do prevention of life for the rest of the world. Potentially we can leave that to AI and robots, and then we can make humanity go extinct. And the AI can, try and get to the next galaxy, get to other planets. And look, it might fail, but we should at least let it try and to sterilize the universe if it can, or as much of the universe as possible. And yeah, that's the right thing to do because nature is the worst thing possible. Nature is the biggest problem in the world because it generates suffering, right? It's just a useless thing that just generates suffering and harm. So we have to abolish it. Okay, moving on. We have loads of people lining up to come on stage, so we're going to get the next one up now. Hello, how you doing?
Good, thanks, and yourself?
Yeah, good, thank you. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, actually, I have just one question. So, not to challenge anything you said. You said, okay, so we should give AI a chance to move to the next planet or to the next civilization and so on. Okay, so what makes you doubt that AI will fail to get to the next civilization, given how far AI has advanced or has been developed in the past, let's say, so far in 2026? Because in 2026 so far, we've seen the biggest rises in AI development, AI companies, basically AI doing everything, driving your car, cooking your food, operating your phone, running whole businesses. So I'm thinking maybe, hey, my guy, there's like a 1% chance AI will ever fail at doing anything. Cause of why? Us as human beings, it started with just small AI, a program here, a system there, and then it changed where to the point where you are basically training and teaching AI to replace yourself. Like I know
Yeah.
in China or Japan
Yeah,
somewhere.
so, well, that's it.
they
AI
have-
is amazing, and yeah, if it can do universe-wide extinction, then we should let it have a go.
Yeah, but how can society benefit from something that's gonna okay, so you're saying nature and everything is causing suffering. Okay, my take on it is, if take money out of the equation, how would life be without money? Just that question, how would have life been without money?
Well, it's not about that though. You know, how would life be if you were being tortured, right, for your entire life?
My God, but that's basically what living in 2026 is.
No, that's a very privileged position to take, right? You're not being tortured. You're not being eaten alive. You're not suffering as badly as those who are worst off.
But still, it's almost like a 50-50 thing, because of now you believe AI dominant. Me, I believe nature dominant, like energy frequencies and all that. So
But you know, nature and energy frequencies, that's not going to achieve anything, right? And again, if you think that you're a sufferer because you're in 2026, when you know you're not being eaten alive, you're not being tortured, then you're not living in the real world. You're living in a fantasy bubble. Hello, how you doing?
Good. So you're all about extinction? Is that the whole premise? You want to end suffering by killing everyone?
It's not that we want to kill everyone. It's that we
Well,
want
that's
to
the end
make
goal.
everyone safe.
Well, yeah, through extinction, right?
Through euthanasia and extinction.
So you think being dead is better because you're not suffering, right?
You're not suffering. You're not at risk of suffering.
Well, why are you alive?
So that I can help make everyone else safe as well.
But isn't the alternative to not suffering always better to die?
Say again?
Isn't the alternative to suffering better to not? In your views?
Is it better to not suffer? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And only extinction can achieve that.
Yet you're choosing not to suffer. Yet you're choosing to suffer right now by living.
Yeah, so that I can help others.
Yeah, and why wouldn't future people want to do that?
Well, there's no point having life just so that it can help others. There's no point creating danger and problems to solve just for the fun of it. That's not ethical. That's like you're basically saying, let's cause some suffering so that some good people can help with it. That's completely unethical. Anyway, it looks like you've swiped off and gone onto a different app, which has muted you. So Yeah, if you come on the stream, then you can't, go on Facebook at the same time because it will kick you out of the stream, basically. All right, we have a few more people in the queue, so we're going to move on. Let's see. Oh, quite a lot of people in the queue. All right, I have to join like 5 people from the queue to get even 1. So let's begin. Let's see. Just inviting loads of people up. I'm sure at least 1 will join. And there we go. Hello, how you doing?
Yo,
Yeah, how are you doing? Do you have any questions for us?
yeah, I do. So if you're saying total extinction is good, right?
Yes.
Then would you be okay to actually die yourself?
Yeah.
So if say somebody was to kill you now, you'd be fine with that.
Well, no, I'd prefer to stay alive to help others be safe from suffering first, right? To do as much as there's a lot of moral obligation in this world, right?
Yeah. So what's your actually point? Why can't people stay alive? Whether suffering is an actual thing, pleasure is better. Doing like stuff you enjoy, like going out with your family and
Pleasure is better than suffering. Wow, that's a revelation. I didn't know that.
well, it is, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's shocking news. This just in, everybody. Pleasure is better than suffering. Wow. Thank you for educating us. It's better to go out with your family and have fun than to suffer. I didn't know that.
So what's your point then? Go on.
What's your point?
My point is that like you're not right really. We shouldn't all be extinct.
Yeah, you're right. Let's all decide to stop suffering and just have fun instead. Problem solved, right? Amazing. The naivete of some people that come on the stream, it will make you lose faith in humanity. It should make you lose faith in humanity. If it doesn't, then you're the reason to lose faith in humanity. All right, moving on. Okay, great. We've still got lots of people joining the queue, so that's good. We've got more debates to come. And our next is starting now. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Good, thank you.
All right. So I think like one of my big things with this is I heard a couple of things that, but this isn't really something because I heard you say, we should try it. If it doesn't work out, I don't feel like this is something that you can just try it and it not work out. Like you have to kind of be 100% sure that it's gonna work.
No. You don't have to be 100% sure. That's like saying, "Oh, I won't go to World War II to defend my country because I don't know 100% sure that we'll win." Right? That's the definition of cowardice.
I mean, I don't think that that's right. Just because this is like, if you don't get it 100%, you're going to for sure make it just make everything worse.
No, it can't get worse than it already is.
Okay, because like one example that I'm thinking, because
so you're saying it cannot get worse than it already is.
Okay, because you're saying that I think it's okay to bring children in the world if they are a part of the movement, right? Like if they're a part of the movement, they're gonna help people. Like, if they're gonna help me kill everybody, they're gonna help the extinction thing.
But extinction isn't about killing them; it's about preventing life existing.
I get that, but you're bringing people into the world so that you can prevent them existing, and that I feel like is a little selfish because what if they get kidnapped, raped, tortured, abused, all that stuff?
So it would be better to just let suffering continue for billions of years.
I'm saying unless you're 100% sure that you can do it, then yes, it's going to regardless.
So we shouldn't try to take action against the billions of years of suffering. We should just ignore it.
I think unless you're 100%
that's a
sure.
great idea, but that's insane, right? This mentality. He's not the first person to say it. In fact, a lot of people say it. They say unless we have omniscience level certainty, unless God comes down and says yes, this will work, 100%. No fault, no chance of failure, 1,000,000,000%, yeah, for sure. Don't worry, right? That's cowardice, right? That's saying I won't do the right thing unless I'm sure it's going to work, right? That's like a fireman saying, yeah, I can hear a child screaming in there, but, what if I get hurt, right? I don't know 100% chance that it'll work. What if I go into the burning building and then, I grab the child, and then what if the house collapses? We could both die. So, yeah, I know we can hear the child screaming for help, but we can't help, right? God hasn't come down and said it will definitely go right. Right? How else are you going to get 100% certainty that it's going to work, right? You literally need God to come down and say, yes, that is the right thing to do. And instead of being brave and just doing the right thing, I'm going to tell you it will go right no matter what, right? Imagine if the soldiers in World War II had all said, I'm not going to war because God didn't tell me it's definitely going to work, right? Because, God didn't touch me on the head and give me omniscience level certainty that this is going to work 100% fine, right? What else? I mean, I'm not straw manning here, right? He said you need 100% certainty that it's going to work. What else could possibly provide that other than God coming down and touching you on the forehead, right? Nothing. I dare you to suggest something that can provide 100% certainty other than that, right? So unless God comes down and touches him on the forehead, he won't help the child screaming, right? That's a ridiculous position to take. The idea that you have to have 100% certainty to try and help is ridiculous, right? Only a complete coward would say that. And again, he's not the first person to say it. Lots of people say that. I'll only do the right thing if I'm 100% sure I won't get hurt. Like, Mr. Charlie, hello, how you doing?
Hi, mate. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
I just want to know your point. Are you arguing for objectively the right thing to do, or is it like a agreed upon subjective based on everyone's intuitions?
It's objectively the right thing to do, because the alternative is to just have an infinitely unethical, immoral position, right, where you just do nothing about suffering.
Right, but
you either have a zero tolerance policy on cruelty and extreme suffering, or you have infinite acceptance. You can't limit it. It's either one or the other. You either accept it or you don't accept it.
Where's your objective morality come from for you personally?
So it comes from rationality, basically. Most humans have evolved to not be able to understand what's right and wrong, but a few humans have mutated out of that, basically, and have the capacity to understand what is right and wrong.
But do you think it's objective as in it's out there? It's not a human thing. It's a real thing in the world.
Yeah, so in the same way that, another alien civilization would come to the same conclusion. Yeah.
Right, but that would be a consensus, not an objective. As an objective in the same way that maths would be objective in another.
Oh, no, I never
universe.
said it would be a consensus.
No, I'm saying just because an alien would also think it doesn't make it objective.
Right, but I never said that is what makes it objective.
No. I'm just sorry. I'm not trying to. I just want to know your point, like whether you're saying, because a lot of people use objective quite loosely, and they mean they don't mean it as in a universe objective in the same way that 1 + 1 meaning 2 is objective.
Yeah, no, it is objective in that way. Those who look for the truth will find it, basically. But most people have evolved to not be able to see it, essentially.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I think if anyone agrees with you, I personally don't think it's objective. But I think if anyone does think morality is objective, I don't think they could be able to argue against you. So fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really as much about the objective thing as it is about the fact that you can't argue against it, right? So, the objective morality and objective knowledge arguments and, philosophies, really the objective standard is omniscience, right? So, we don't have that, and so we have to work on the alternative, the second best to that, which is collective reasoning. So, the way that works is the same way language works almost, right? Where what works, what doesn't work gets pushed away, and you build up on what does work. So that's the same thing as our movement. It's based on rationality. So it's about building up systems that are coherent and consistent with your morality and your ethics, right? And eventually, you do start to see the bigger picture. It all becomes clear for you. But most people are not looking into that, right? So, they don't really care about it. They're not considering it. And then, you tell them what the truth is and they're like, nah, that doesn't sound right. But they're the same people that aren't looking into it properly. And so you have to look into it in order to understand it. Hello, Sabine. Welcome to the stream. And do I answer my DMs? Yes, I do. Okay, let's try and get another debate going. So I'm going to get back on that queue right now, see who else we can join in. Got quite a few people in the queue. All right, I think we got somebody. Hello again.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hi, James.
You're right. Do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. I have one question for you.
Okay.
Let's say that we can genetically engineer people. We can genetically engineer people to be good and to have like no diseases and to be loving to each other. Would that make you back out of the movement?
No. So our movement is about certainty of safety, right? So people are always saying, if this is the current conditions for life, right now, people are saying, well, let's just build it up a little bit. Or, what about if we get to here? But no, only certainty of safety is good enough, because otherwise you have infinite danger. So there's no amount of, partial safety where you're still going to be safe. Unless you have certainty of safety, 100% safety, then you still have infinite, unlimited danger. And you can make it less likely that you'll experience that danger, but ultimately you don't know, right? The omniscience point is that unless you know everything, then there's going to be unknowns. And one of the best sort of examples of that is that your mind could go wrong. Anything could happen, right? So when I'm saying that people are ignorant to all of the danger that they're in, the infinite danger, they're not really imagining all the ways that this could go wrong. They're just trying to ignore it, basically.
Why don't you kill yourself though? Why don't you just that?
Yeah, because that would be selfish, right? So basically we're encouraging people not to end just their own suffering, but to end everyone's suffering, right? If we can help others that are screaming in pain, why should we ignore them? Okay, it's really as simple as that. All right, we're going to do one more debate and then I'm going to take a break. So let's see who we've got. I'm going to join a few people in. I'm going to join in like 5 or 6 people from the queue, and probably only one will come up on stage. So I do have to kind of spam loads of accepts. Yeah, I hate talking about it, but the queue on TikTok is broken. If you join the queue to debate and then you leave, it doesn't show me that you've left. So I still have to join everyone. Sam, hello, how you doing?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, can you tell me actually what you mean by total extinction?
Well, extinction is when, a species has lost its last members. So total extinction means, absolutely no species anymore.
Okay, right.
Got it? Okay, well, thank you for your question, Sam. We're going to move on to Polo next. Polo coming up. And thank you, Cora. Polo, how you doing?
Yo.
You have any questions for us?
Yeah, well, what do you think the religious people would say?
Oh, they'd be horrified.
Yeah, that's true. That was my only question, bro. Thank you.
All right.
You have a
Mr.
good one.
Polo, thank you for coming up. We've got more people in the queue, more people joining, trying to debate. Let's hear what they have to say. Hello, Mira. How you doing?
Hi.
Yeah, hello. Do you have any questions for us?
Yes, I think the life will appear somewhere in the universe, in another planet. So, what? This is not solution.
Yeah, we should try and stop the other planets as well. And even if we don't help the other planets, it's still good to help life here on our planet.
Okay, why we don't want we allow anyone to be responsible about his self? So
Because
if
we
you
care
want,
about them, right? If you care about life, then you won't want it to make irresponsible decisions where it ends up suffering terribly. Okay, they left for some reason, but we've got another person coming up right now, Mr. Binary. Will they be binary or non-binary? Who knows? Hello. Mr. Mrs. Binary? No, they've left. Fair enough. Okay, do we have anybody else trying to come up on the stage? It looks like there's at least one or two. So let's try and beam them up. Okay, quite a few people in the queue actually. Beijing, hello again.
Yeah, so I heard you iterate like being sound of mind and rational thinking, and you believe you're on that side of things when it comes to your view. So what would be the metric you'd use to say someone's thinking rationally, right? What's the difference between someone that's on your position about extinction and not your position?
Yeah, rationality is something that can be explored and it can be proven. And if you watch carefully enough on my live streams, you'll see that people get more and more irrational the longer they try and debate against something which is rational, which is extinction. And if people have got all of the time in the world to come up on this stage and prove to me that I'm being irrational, but no one's done it, right? No one's managed to change my mind. Whereas most people that come up here, they can't argue against it. They start saying irrational things, right? Like, oh, child abuse is good for you, or oh, you said that, you said this, right? They start strawmanning, debating dishonestly, and start just saying crazy things, right? It's very easy to see that the people that come up here are irrational, right? You can ask them a question like, they'll say things like, everyone can take their own lives at any time, right? Which is just obviously not true. Right? That's a really good example, I would say.
Okay. So basically, when you delve into your position, you're saying your reasons are rational, and when someone's on the opposite end, when they show their reasons, they're irrational. And like from what my understanding, your reasons is just to end suffering, and that you think you're being a good person, or this is the morally high ground position.
Well, we do it so that we can help those who are suffering. But yeah, it's also the right thing to do, is to help
Yeah,
them.
help, right? And you usually like when it comes to helping people, like very empathetic thing, it's usually on a contextual basis. Like if someone is dehydrated, needs water, you give them water. Someone needs shelter, you give them shelter. If someone's dying from cancer, they ask for the plug to be pulled, you pull the plug, right? So so it's usually like a contextual necessity thing with the consent of what the other
No,
person
it's not
wants.
always contextual. We often have rules, right?
Well, it's still with the
And we
consent.
should have a rule that we should make it so that nobody is begging for death and wishing they'd never been born.
So being helpful doesn't have to do with the person's consent, right? With their state of mind, because being helpful is contextual to like what they want or what would be helpful for them in the moment, aligning with their mental state, right? Because I don't, because like I said, when someone's dehydrated, they need water.
Well, look, do you think we should make it so that nobody is being tortured for their whole life? Or do you think we should make it so that, just ignore that fact?
Never being tortured for their whole life, like, what do you mean? Like, give me a
Lots
second here.
of animals and humans are currently tortured to death for their entire life, or they have a life where it's so bad that they would have been better off not being born, or they experience suffering which is so bad that it, wipes out the rest of their life, makes it so that even the good times they still would have been better off not being born. So that happens very frequently, right? And
Yeah,
do you think that that's acceptable?
and we're talking about being helpful, right? Like what being
No.
helpful
Being helpful
means.
doesn't really come into this. I don't know why you're talking about that.
Wait, so you're backpedaling on being helpful.
I don't know where you got that. Maybe you didn't hear me properly.
So if you're not doing it to be helpful for someone suffering, what are you doing it for at this? Because you say you're not being selfish, you're being
Beijing,
selfish, right?
we're not. You're not on the same planet, right? I don't know. It's like talking to someone that's on drugs or completely drunk, right? It's like, what? I didn't say that. And what are you talking about? And what's going on in this conversation? All right, Darius. Hello. How you doing? Okay, Darius is on camera. Potentially going to show some illegal content or something, so we're going to take them off. Tom Jerry is saying, I wish I recorded it, but all of these live streams are recorded, and you can watch all of them on my YouTube channel. So we currently have 62 episodes of this on YouTube, and you can watch every single episode. A lot of them are like 4 hours long, and it's on the YouTube channel Universal Extinction. Universal Extinction, and you can go and watch every episode there if you want. Okay, do we have any more people in the queue? Let's have a look. But yeah, I am going to end the stream pretty soon, just FYI. Do we have one last person? All right, let's get that crazy person up again. Mr. Crazy, how you doing? What? Okay. Yeah, never mind. Okay, let's get Wadak back on as our final guest. Hello, how you doing?
I don't know why you keep dropping people. I was being nice. I was just interested to know what you.
All right, Wadak, you're wasting our time. You know, we're here to logic and arguments, not for yapping. Okay. All right, that's it, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And I don't know if I'm going to stream again today. Tempted not to, but maybe we'll see. But probably tomorrow. Follow me, check out my recent videos, and join the conversation on Discord with the pro-extinction movement. If you Google search abolish suffering Discord, abolish suffering Discord, it will be the first result on Google. Or you can check out the link on my profile. You can check out the website through my profile and join the Discord as well. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time. And yeah, in the meantime, you can watch all of my live streams on YouTube. After every live stream, I upload them on YouTube. Universal Extinction, go and check them out if you want.